Okay, good morning everyone. Welcome to Byju's Exam Prep IAS. This is Sham Kagod here. Now, before I start the discussion, if there is no issue with the sound, please give me a thumbs up. Let me know that I'm audible to you so that we can start the discussion. Done. Let's start. Let's start. So, welcome to the first class. Today, we're going to start the topics or the discussion on Indian economy. Now, before I start with the first topic, what is the syllabus that you're supposed to refer? What is the preparation strategy? And before that, most importantly, why should you read the Indian economy? What is the importance of Indian economy? Now, I'm pretty sure all of you know this. The first stage of clearing UPSC civil services examination is that you will have to write prelims. Correct? The first stage is prelims, and after that, you'll have to clear mains. And finally, the interview stage. In prelims as well as the mains examination, what is the weightage given by UPSC for Indian economy? What is the weightage? How many questions generally appear in prelims as well as mains? Generally, the trend, again, I'm saying it's a trend. The trend is that on an average, around 15 questions. I repeat, on an average, around 15 questions. And I hope you understand when you say average, in 1 year it could be more than 15, in another year it could be less than 15 as well. So on an average, around 15 plus questions generally appear from the subject of Indian economy. Now, when you say 15 questions, will they come from the current affairs? Will they come from the static source? What is the basic area from where the questions are picked? Most of these questions, I'll repeat the statement again here. Most of these questions, that's out of 15 questions, let's say around 13 questions or 12 questions, these are from current affairs. These are basically are from current affairs. Current affairs in the sense what? Something is being discussed in the newspapers. Again, it could be there in the book. It could not be there in the book as well. UPSC generally picks up these questions. For example, couple of days ago, I'm pretty sure all of you are reading newspapers now. Couple of days ago, monetary policy review was conducted. And for those of you for whom this is a first class, do not panic. Right? Some of you simply say, sir, you used the term monetary policy. What is the meaning of that? I don't know. Teach that now. Don't worry. This is a first class. So for those of you for whom this is a first class, please don't panic. As and when we keep on discussing, you'll understand all these terminologies. So very recently, there was a monetary policy review conducted. And during the monetary policy review, there was something called as a repo rate. There was a marginal standing facility. There was a discussion regarding standing deposit facility, etc. So UPSC generally picks up these kind of terminologies or concepts which are there in the current affairs and tends to ask a lot of questions in the prelims as well as in the mains from the current affairs itself. So around 15 questions out of 100 questions in the prelims appear from current affairs. Appear from Indian economy. And what about the mains examination? What about the mains examination? On an average, around 6 to 7 questions in the mains examination, either 10 marker or 15 marker will come from Indian economy. So in terms of weightage, UPSC provides or gives a lot of weightage for the Indian economy, both in the preliminary examination as well as mains examination. Now, point number 2, what is the syllabus? What is the syllabus? If you look at the syllabus, let's say notification of UPSC for preliminary examination, there is no such a lengthy syllabus that is prescribed by the UPSC. It simply says the events that are taking place in the Indian economy is the syllabus for preliminary examination. But to be very precise here, if you look at the practice of UPSC, you can definitely find out certain syllabus. You can say these are the chapters from which UPSC will pick up the questions for both preliminary as well as mains examination. And please understand this, whenever I'm going to talk, right, let's say in the context of Indian economy, please assume that it is both important for prelims as well as mains. Do not worry, do not try to differentiate, because you have sufficient time now. Do not try to differentiate everything into whether this is required for prelims or is it required for mains. assume that it is important for both prelims as well as mains. So with that caveat, what are the chapters we are going to discuss? This is the list of the topics that I'm going to discuss. Now, some of you are asking, sir, should we note down these particular topics? Should we by heart these particular topics? The answer to that is absolutely no. Please do not try to by heart any of these topics. Please don't try to by heart. It's not needed. Why? We are going to cover all of these topics one by one. We are going to cover all of these topics, right? That's a reason. Do not try to buy at the list of the topics. And point number two, some of you are asking, will you get these PPTs? Yes, whatever PPTs I'm going to use, you're going to get all of these PPTs. All the PPTs that I'm going to use, in fact, the updated PPTs compared to, let's say, last batch or the, let's say, 2 months ago when I had conducted, I generally keep on updating these PPTs. Whatever is updated PPTs, it will be given to you. Please do not panic. Okay. Now, this is a list of the topics. We are going to discuss GDP. We are going to discuss certain concepts in microeconomics. We are going to discuss budgeting as a concept. We are going to discuss taxation, subsidies, agriculture sector, industries, internal trade, external trade, exchange rate, banking sector, infrastructure, right? World Trade Organization, International Monetary Fund, inclusive growth, etc. Right? So these are the list of the topics. Please do not panic. Do not worry. All these topics will be discussed one by one. Now, the most important question that most of you are asking, sir, what should we refer to? What should be the source of reference? Should we read one book? Should we read two books? Should we read 10 books, etc.? What should be the source? Now, for UPSC examination, I hope you understand this. You have multiple subjects. You do not have to prepare only one subject. You have to prepare multiple subjects. When the requirement is so high, when you are expected to read so many subjects, my recommendation for Indian economy is that do not try to read multiple books. Don't try to read multiple books. That is actually not required. You don't have to read multiple books. And if you read one book and try to read another book, the concept will be similar. For example, what is the role of Reserve Bank of India? Do you think one book will discuss something else compared to another book? Absolutely no. What is RBI? How it functions? What is its role? What is its responsibility? Right? What is monetary policy? What is repo rate? What is reverse repo rate? It's same. Maybe the words might be different. Maybe the way they are trying to communicate the concept to you might be different, but the concept will be same. At the end of the day, UPSC wants you to understand, remember the concept. UPSC doesn't expect you to read 4 books, 5 books for every subject. In that case, let's say, right, 8 books are there. Right. So I hope you understand. I'm sorry, 8 subjects are there. If you read 4 books for every subject, it means you're reading 30 plus books. Right? Do you think that is possible for a student to remember all the concepts in 30 plus books? Again, I'm not challenging you. Right? Some of you will simply say, sir, are you trying to test me here? In that case, I'll sit next 1 year, I'll read 4 books of economy, 5 books of economy. Very good. You're an expert in economics. But only with economics can you pass UPSC examinations. So I hope you understand. Again, this is my right approach to UPSC. One static book is more than sufficient. In that case, also many students tell me, sir, static book, what book do I read? Should I read NCERT? Is it sufficient? Should I read a bigger book? Right? Should I read Dattan Sundaram? Should I read IGNO notes? Should I read NIOS notes, etc.? My recommendation to you is, if you can read NCERT books plus one any other book plus current affairs. I'll repeat the statement. If you can read NCERT books plus any one book plus current affairs, more than sufficient. And here also some of the students will generally tell me, sir, should I read NCERT or should I read Tamil Nadu TN board books? Because if you have read interviews of certain toppers, if you have heard of certain toppers speaking, if you have seen their videos in the YouTube, some of the toppers will tell you that, right, TN board books, that is TN is nothing but Tamil Nadu. So Tamil Nadu board books are also very good. In fact, yes, that's a fact, by the way. TN board books, especially let's say for subjects such as economy, these are good books. But my concern is very simple here. The Tamil Nadu board book is very comprehensive, very big books. These are not smaller books. If you look at the NCERT books, these are generally around 100 pages. Tamil Nadu board books are 400 pages, 350 pages, etc. Now, what I would recommend to you people is, for example, today I'm going to discuss certain concepts in microeconomics. In microeconomics, we'll discuss certain concepts, and these concepts generally, I'm saying generally, are not mentioned in any book. So what I would be doing is, if there is any chapter in the NCERT, if there is any chapter regarding this in the Tamil Nadu board, that is a book under the Tamil Nadu board, I will give you the references. And trust me when I say this, whether you take up NCERT book or you take up Tamil Nadu board book, both of them are free of a cost. You please do not be worried about making any payment to either NCERT or to the Tamil Nadu board. For example, let me show you a glimpse here. For example, have a look at this particular slide. Have a look at this slide. I've given you a list of certain chapters in the NCERT book as well as Tamil Nadu board book. And whenever it is applicable, I'll give you this list. For example, there is a chapter called as inflation. If you have seen the syllabus split up just now, there is a chapter called as inflation. There is no much discussion regarding inflation in the NCERT book. I've checked the NCERT books from the class 9th to class 12th. No much discussion. Here and there, the term inflation is spread, it is thrown in the books, but they do not have basically the chapter on inflation. So what I can do to make your preparation easier is, in case of NCERT books as well as Tamil Nadu board book, I can give you the references. You can use these references to read, to consolidate your basics of whatever we are going to discuss. And second point is, whether you read any other standard book, trust me when I say this, when you read any other standard book, some of you are asking, give me the references in that book also. My dear, in those books, the chapter name itself is more than sufficient. For example, if you have Nitin Singhania book, open the book. Is there a chapter on inflation? Yes. Is there a chapter on national income? Yes. So directly start reading. I don't have to tell you which chapter to read, because the chapter name itself is sufficient for you to understand this is what we are going to discuss. Next important point. Right? Next important point. Whenever you read, I repeat, whenever you read, try to make short notes. Try to make short notes whenever you read. Why short notes are important? It will help you in revising further. For those of you who are asking what should be the strategy, I'm talking about strategy now. Whenever you read anything, any concept in the book, try to make short notes. And whenever you read a book, do not try to read the book from the first page to last page. For example, you took a book, there is a chapter on agriculture. Should you read from the first line in the book to the last line in the book? Absolutely not required. It is of no consequence or importance to you. So that is the reason, try to read relevant concepts in a book, right? Relevant. Because if you take a standard book, it will be 600 pages, 700 pages, 800 pages. Can you read all those 800 pages? Absolutely no. Right? You don't have to read all the 800 pages. That is not required. What is relevant, you please pick up and read only that. Okay. So NCERT books, class 9th to class 12th, 4 books are there, more than sufficient. If you want to read a Tamil Nadu board books, I would recommend that also, but do not read every line, every page in these books. Be limited to what is required. For example, I'll tell you, if you open up an NCERT book, especially class 12th microeconomics. In class 12th, there is a book on microeconomics. Okay, there are more than 5 chapters in this microeconomics book. Should you read every chapter? Not required. Should you read every line in every chapter? Not required. For example, the first chapter in microeconomics is important. We are going to discuss certain concepts within the first chapter itself. It's important. But within the first chapter also, lot of equations are given. Lot of unnecessary data is given. Lot of unnecessary concepts are given which are not needed for GS paper 3. If you are reading for optional economics, then I would simply recommend don't skip anything. Please read everything. But for GS paper 3, you don't have to read all these equations, all the graphical representations, integration, calculus, etc. That is absolutely of no use for you. Okay. So NCRT books, one standard book. Okay. And more importantly, current affairs. Please do not skip current affairs. This is one concern I generally have with the students. You will have to read current affairs. You cannot escape from the current affairs. And do not expect that UPSC will pick up questions only from a standard book, only from NCRT, etc. Absolutely no. UPSC can pick up for questions from any area. It could be from a newspaper, it could be from a magazine, it could be from a standard book as well. For example, today is a Hindu newspaper, correct? Today is a Hindu newspaper. This is the exercise that I will do continuously. On everyday basis, I'll keep on giving you a certain assignment. That is, again, please understand, some of you will feel burdened by it. My dear, you are preparing for civil services. It is your duty to read newspapers. So today's Hindu newspaper, there is an article on inflation. There is an article on inflation. First page itself, there is an article on inflation. Then, right under one of the pages, right, explained pages, there is right an article on anarcho-capitalism. Anarcho-capitalism, right? I hope you understand the importance of these articles. I know we have not discussed inflation, but topics regarding or current affairs regarding inflation is generally important. There is one more article on right the nutrition or healthy diet. There is one more article on healthy diet, right? And as usual, you will have to read editorials and open editorials. You will have to read that. That's compulsory. That is given that you will read this. So I hope you understand today's newspaper. These are the three articles which are important from Indian economy. From Indian economy, I cannot talk to you. I cannot teach you polity. I cannot teach you science and technology, etc. But what I can do is simple. Let's keep the preparation process very simple. Every day from the Hindu newspaper, I'll tell you what are the important articles. Now it is your duty to read those articles. I will read because I have to understand what is there in the current affairs. I will read that. But it's your duty, you're writing exams, read those articles as well. Done? So that is one. Second one, every week, right? Let's say Friday, I will give you certain list of articles from other newspapers as well. Right? Why other newspapers? Other newspapers will carry lot of Indian economy related articles which are generally not covered in Hindu newspaper. And because most of you, I'm pretty sure, most of you will read Hindu newspapers, I want you people to go beyond Hindu newspaper. But some of you will simply say it's not possible for me, it's very difficult for me, I don't want to pay for newspapers, I don't get access to newspapers, etc. etc. What I can do to make your preparation easier is to give you, let's say, every week around 10 articles. As long as I'm going to take the classes, I'll give you around 10 articles. Now, again, it's your duty to read these 10 articles, right? Do not expect me to read, right? I will read, but I'm not writing exams. You people are writing exams. So it's very simple. Let's keep it very simple. One, if you find economics very difficult or Indian economy very difficult, start with NCRTs or Tamil Nadu board book. I will give you references at the end of every chapter, if at all they are there. If they are there, I'll give you the references, read them. If you have any book, right, in the book, the standard book, the chapter name is very much evident. Agriculture, right? Look at the index, agriculture, national income, right? Or let's say inflation. You don't have to ask me, do I need to read this chapter? Title name is there, read it, right? Third, you will have to keep on revising. You will have to keep on revising, right? Do not forget to revise concepts, because if you do not revise after 1 week, you generally tend to forget. 1 or 2 revisions, you will be able to recollect these concepts much more easily. And fourth, current affairs. How do I make current affairs easier for you? One, every day, whenever write a Hindu newspaper, you will get, I'll tell you the list of the articles which are relevant in that day's Hindu. Read those. Plus, on weekly basis, till I take the classes, I'll give you the list of the articles. Read those articles from other newspapers as well. So done. This is how you are supposed to have a preparation strategy for Indian economy. So with this caveat, let me start with the first chapter. Let me start with the first chapter, Introduction to Economics. Now, before that, some of the students have doubts. If anybody has any kind of a doubt, please do let me know. Regarding syllabus, strategy, etc. Any doubt is there, please do let me know. Do we need to make running notes? My recommendation is you will not be able to do the listening exercise as well as writing exercise. I hope you understand. Listening and writing, everything very difficult, very difficult. You will miss out on certain concepts. You will forget to write certain concepts or certain statements, etc. That's the reason. What I would recommend is listen carefully. Then when you're reading, you can start making the notes automatically. Okay. Is this class sufficient for optional students? My dear, this is for GS paper 3. This is basically GS paper 3, right? That is Indian economy GS paper 3. You're asking me, is this sufficient for optional? Absolutely no. Absolutely no. Right? Listen to me carefully. If you think that UPSC is going to pick up questions in optional paper based on what I'm going to discuss in GS paper 3, then you're mistaken. Right, so I hope you understand. It's a very it's very expanded version, that is optional paper. The coverage of the syllabus is very high. We are hardly covering within paper 2. If you have seen economics optional, again, it's not mandatory that all of you should do this. Those who are thinking of taking economics optionals, so it's not even around 20 to 30% of paper 2 of economy optionals. So no, my answer is absolutely no. Okay, done. Let me start the discussion now. Which is a standard book? Please understand, there is no universal answer to this. Many of the students keep on asking me, sir, tell me one golden book for Indian economy. There is absolutely no golden book. In your mind, there is a perception, there is a thought process which says, if I read this book, I will pass UPSC. Absolutely no. Every book has certain pros and cons. For example, there is one book which is very small, right? Small books means we will not have sufficient information. There are books which are 800 pages, 900 pages, which have unnecessary information as well. So I hope you understand, there is no one universal book, right, which I can simply say, read this, you will pass UPSC. Absolutely no. Okay, done. So let me start with the first chapter here. Let me start with the first chapter, Introduction to Economics. Now, what we are going to discuss in this chapter, we will start with definition, then we'll discuss micro and macro, and various subtopics are there. Do not by heart this. And at the end of the chapter, we will have a discussion regarding the preliminary questions as well as the mains questions which have appeared from this chapter in the last couple of years. Then let me start with the definition. Let me start with a definition, a very simple definition. How do you define economics? How do you define economics? Economics is a subject, that is, it is a science which deals with human behavior in relation to scarce means and ends. Listen carefully. There are thousands of definitions. I'll take a simplest definition. It is a science which deals with human behavior in relation to scarce means and ends. Now, what do you mean by this? For all of us, Either you are right, a consumer, or you are a producer. Consumer means the one who will purchase and consume. Producer, right, will produce goods or services, sell it in the market. So whether you are a consumer, right, or a customer, or a producer, or a manufacturer, etc., the resources that we have are limited. Point number one, the resources that we have are limited. Now, many of you ask me, sir, what do you mean by resources? Resources are inputs. Resources are inputs which are used to produce something. Resources are used for producing something or consuming something. For example, please have a look at the bottle and tell me, do we require resources to produce this bottle or not? And by the way, I'll be taking a lot of examples. I'll be explaining a lot of examples with this bottle only to make friendship with this bottle. So can I simply say, if I'm a manufacturer, I will require resources to produce the bottle. You are a consumer, you have money to purchase a bottle, to purchase fruits from the market, to purchase a vegetable from the market, to purchase a onion from the market, etc. So now can I simply say, whether I'm a manufacturer who will require resources to produce, or you're a customer who will purchase a goods and services from the market, the resources that we have are limited. For example, for you as a customer, money is a resource. Do you think you have unlimited amount of money? Absolutely no. I'm a producer. I need money to purchase plastic. I need money to purchase a machine. I need money to hire people so that the manufacturing can happen. Don't you think the amount of resources I have are also limited? I don't have unlimited resources. I have limited resources. So now the question is, when all of us have limited resources, how do we utilize the resources? How do we allocate the resources? How do we utilize the resources? The study of that is called as economics. I'll repeat it. If there is any doubt, please do let me know. Right? The resources that we have are limited. We do not have unlimited resources. For example, if I'm a farmer, I'm cultivating on a piece of land. The amount of land that I have is limited. How much money I have to purchase seeds, it is limited. I can use this money to purchase onion seeds also. I can use this money to purchase right, the seeds for other crops as well. So the resources that we have are generally limited. Now, how do we utilize the resources to satisfy our needs? I'll repeat. How do we use these resources to satisfy our requirements, to satisfy our needs? The study of that is called as economics. Right? So again, look at the definition here. It is a science which deals with a human behavior where they have limited resources, and how do we utilize the resources to meet our requirements. Ends is nothing but our needs, our requirements. How do we utilize these resources to meet our needs? This is called as economics. All of you are clear with the definition? Now think of this from a household perspective. If you have a doubt, even now think of this from a household. Look at your own household. Household is nothing but a house. In case of a house, don't you think the amount of money that the house is earning, income that the house is earning, is limited? It could be 1 lakh rupees a month. It could be 50,000 rupees a month. It could be even 10,000 rupees a month. So how do we utilize this amount that we have to satisfy our requirements, to satisfy our needs? Allocation of the resources are done. The study of that is economics. And if you look at this in a bigger picture, broader picture, can we apply the same to the government also? Think of it. Can we apply the same logic to even the government of India? Government of India has to spend money to construct roads. Government of India has to spend money to provide welfare to you, to me, to many other people. Government of India has to repay the loans that they have taken. But the amount of money that the government has, it is limited. Correct? The amount of money that the government has, it is limited. Resources that the government has is limited. Now, how does government allocate these resources? The study of that is nothing but economics. Done? So, I hope you understand the definition. Should you by heart the definition? Please don't by heart the definition. And there are certain students who will keep on asking, should we remember everything? Should we by heart everything? Should we mug up everything? My recommendation is, my dear, for UPSC examination, do not try to by heart or mug up everything under Indian economy. I'll apply this logic only to Indian economy. Do not by heart everything. Understand the concepts also. In some cases, I will only say by heart it. In most of the cases, if you can understand the concept behind it, it's very easy for you to answer many of the questions asked by UPSC. Done. So argument is simple. We have resources which are limited, but our requirements are a lot. These are very huge, unlimited, right? And now the challenge is, how do we utilize the resources to satisfy our requirements? How do we allocate the resources? The study of that is economics. Now, point number 2. Many of the students will keep on saying that, sir, in case of the newspapers, in case of the books, generally we come across the term economy. We'll come across the term economy. What is the difference between the term economics and economy? Understand the difference here. Economics is a subject. Economics is a field. It is a study. Whereas the term economy, it refers to a system. It refers to a system. For example, have you heard of the term Indian economy? Please do let me know. Have you heard of the term Chinese economy, American economy? Have you heard of, let's say, the Bhutan economy, etc.? So whenever you come across the term economy, we are referring to a system, we are referring to a certain region like this. Whereas the term economics refers to a study, it's a subject. So economics is a field of study, economy is a certain system. Okay, that is the point number 2. Point number 3, some of the students are asking, sir, why have you written economics is a science? Is it a science? Of course, yes, my dear. If you look at a larger picture related to economics, many experts agree economics is an arts also, economics is a science also. It is considered to be both arts as well as science. Now, you don't worry. You don't worry. UPSC is not going to ask why economics is a science. Please tell me that. Right? You don't worry about it. Okay. So this is right, certain basic understanding of the term economics as well as subject of economics. Economics is generally divided into 2 parts, microeconomics as well as macroeconomics. Right? Economics as a field of study is divided into 2 parts, micro and macroeconomics. Now, to make you understand in a simple way what is micro and macro, let me show a picture to you. Please do let me know, is a picture visible to all of you? Let me know, is the picture visible to all of you? If I write this as number 1 and number 2, what is the difference between the picture in number 1 and picture under number 2? You will see that under number 2, only one entity, one company is given. Correct? Under picture number 2 or under number 2, only one company is given. One manufacturing unit is represented. Whereas if I shift from picture number 2 to picture number 1, the whole globe, whole world is represented, which means, can I simply say, in case of the first picture, all the companies, all the manufacturers are being represented. All the companies, all the manufacturers are present in picture 1, whereas only one company only one unit, one entity is present in the picture too. Is it okay with all of you? Now, basic idea is whenever you talk about one economic agent, these are called as economic agents. Is it okay? There is a term called as economic agents. Who is an economic agent? Anybody who is going to contribute to economic activity, takes decisions, economic decisions, and contributes to economic activity. These are called as economic agents. Can I say a company is nothing but an economic agent? Let me know. A company is nothing but an economic agent. A house is nothing but an economic agent. Government is an economic agent. The central bank, that is RBI, is also an economic agent. So argument is simple. Whenever you talk about microeconomics, we focus and study individual economic agents. I'll repeat the statement. Whenever you talk about microeconomics, our focus of study is individual economic agents. For example, under microeconomics, you will study one house. What is the income earned by one house? What is the demand for goods and services in one house? Right? What kind of goods they are consuming, etc. Let's take a company. In one company, how many employees are there? In this company, what good is produced? In this company, how many machines are there? So whenever you study individual economic agents, that is called as microeconomics. Whereas macroeconomics is the complete or aggregate. Complete or aggregate. They will also use one more term, or whole. Macroeconomics is the whole study or complete study or aggregate study. Aggregate study means what? Let's say hypothetically 100 companies are there in India. Hypothetically 100 companies. Now I will study what is the total production done by all the 100 companies. What is the total production done? What is the total, right? Let's say consumption of goods and services or machinery by all the 100 companies. What is the total income earned by all the houses in India? So whenever you talk about aggregates, whenever you study aggregates, the sums or the total study, that is referred to as macroeconomics. Please do let me know, is it okay? Is it clear with all of you? Microeconomics is a study of individual units, whereas macroeconomics is a study of the whole. It is a study of aggregates, right? Wherein we are going to consider every system or every economic agent in the system, right? That is the basic difference between macro and micro. And if you ask me, sir, for UPSC examination, should we study both of them in detail? Answer is no. Please focus more and more on macroeconomics. If you look at the chapters, right, the chapters budgeting, macroeconomics. If you look at the taxation, macroeconomics. If you look at inflation, industries, agriculture sector, all of them are associated with macroeconomics. Do not waste your time in dealing or reading completely regarding microeconomics. It's very technical. Only for optional papers, we ask the students to be very comfortable, read everything about microeconomics. But for GS paper 3, simple GS paper 3, microeconomics, very limited, that too in the preliminary examination, hardly one question. There is no compulsion also. Hardly one question. Once in 2 years, once in 3 years, or once in 4 years, UPSC picks up a question on microeconomics. So whatever concepts are needed for microeconomics for civil services prelims, we'll discuss in the classroom. Please don't worry. So microeconomics is a study of individual agents. Microeconomics, we focus on one company, one producer, one house, right? What is the supply, what is the demand, etc. What is the price of the product, right? So that is microeconomics. Whereas macroeconomics, it deals with aggregates. Aggregates means sum totals, right? That is complete, whole. So aggregates are dealt such as inflation, such as total, the GDP, total income, etc. These are the focus of study under macroeconomics. So generally we divide the economics into two parts, micro and macro. Okay, just to make you understand, I've given certain pictures here. Do not by heart the pictures as well. Many of the students keep on asking me, sir, should we remember the pictures also? Absolutely no, don't by heart pictures. I generally provide pictures to make you understand easily. Now come to the next concept here, factors of production. Now, if you remember, we started with the definition of economics where we use the term resources. Do you remember the term resources? Resources are nothing but inputs. I asked you, do we need resources to manufacture the bottle? And your answer was yes. Of course, that is correct. You might be using a mobile phone. You might be using a laptop. You might be using a tablet. Do we need resources for all the production of the goods that you're consuming? Again, answer is yes. In your room right now, the air conditioner might be working, the fan might be rotating, or AC might be basically working. Do we require resources to produce all of those? Again, the answer is yes. So argument is, whenever you talk about production in any economy, whenever you talk about production in any of the economies, you require resources. And these resources are nothing but inputs. These inputs are collectively referred to as factors of production. Is it okay? The resources that we require to produce anything in the economy, these are nothing but inputs. These inputs are called as factors of production. Factors of production. And these factors of production are generally divided into four parts. Is it okay? These factors of production are classified into four types. Hence the headline, four factors of production. Is it okay? Four factors of production. Now, what are these four factors of production? Please by heart it. Right? Please by heart it. Land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. I'll repeat them. Right? Land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. These are called as four factors of production. Now, what is the importance of all of these four factors of production? Right? How do we understand them, etc.? Let me start. The first one is entrepreneurship. I'm starting from the bottom, by the way. Entrepreneurship. What do you mean by entrepreneur? Entrepreneur simply means the one who will start the business, the one who will start the company, the one who is going to put together all the resources and start manufacturing. The person who will start this process is called as entrepreneur. The one who is going to start the process by investing, by taking lot of risk in the business, that person is called as an entrepreneur. For example, let's assume today after the class, again, this is a joke, by the way, do not take it seriously. Today after the class, one of you will basically say, sir, economics is very difficult. I feel polity is also very difficult. I cannot say differently about geography also. Ecology and environment, I don't understand. So what is the point in writing civil services? I will start a business. Congratulations, you have become an entrepreneur if you do that. All of you okay with this? Right? You have decided, okay, let me not do this. This is very difficult for me. I'm not able to do this. Right? I've seen the Three Idiots movie. So I want to follow my passion. I want to follow my heart. Congrats. If you start the business by investing money, no doubt you're taking a risk, but you're called entrepreneur. Right? So all of you okay with the first factor of production? We require entrepreneurship to have a production of goods or services in the economy. And a simple way, entrepreneur is nothing but the owner of a company. Point number one. First factor. Second, now you have decided, sir keeps on showing this bottle too much. I feel the bottle is important in the economy. Lot of demand is there. I will produce the bottle. You will decide that. You are an entrepreneur. You have decided to produce the bottle. Now tell me, to produce the bottle, will you require machineries or not? correct? To produce this bottle, will you require machineries? Yes. Will you require labor? Yes. And you want to establish a manufacturing facility, will you require land for it? Answer is yes. Is it okay? Right? Let's keep it very simple. To manufacture this bottle, you will require, right, land. Yes. You'll require certain other resource, which is, let's say, iron, which is naturally available. You will require certain labor. You'll require certain machineries. These are the other three factors of production. These are the other three factors. That is labor, the human labor that you will require. You will require machinery, which is called as capital. You will require land for establishment of manufacturing facility. You will require, right, let's say, certain let's say you will require certain raw materials such as steel or iron, which is again iron naturally available. That is called as land. So now please do let me know anybody has difficulty in understanding why do we divide these into four, right? Why these resources are divided into four? It's very simple. You might have multiple resources requirement. We generally divide them into four classes or four groups. So one is entrepreneur, the one who is going to invest money, and take lot of risk and produce goods and services. But the entrepreneur alone cannot do all of it. Entrepreneur requires machinery, assets, very simple, machinery or assets, that is called as capital. Entrepreneur requires labor. Entrepreneur requires a surface of the land. Land is nothing but surface of the land. Entrepreneur requires right, naturally available materials, etc. That is called as land. Can we go forward now? Let me know. Now, many of you are asking me, sir, I read somewhere capital means money. Right? You are right. You are saying, sir, I read somewhere capital means money. Now, please understand this. The term capital is used in multiple contexts. The term capital is used in many contexts. In this context, capital doesn't mean money. Let me prove it to you. All of you have, right, let's say money with you. Either it could be 2000 rupees, 500 rupees or 100 rupees. Let's say I have a 100 rupee currency note. Do you think this 100 rupee note, using this directly, can I manufacture anything? Again, understand my statement. I have 100 rupee note. Can I use 100 rupee note to directly manufacture anything? It's not possible. What I can do is, I will use this 100 rupee note to purchase a machine. Now, please tell me, using this machine, can I manufacture anything? All of you okay with this? Right? In many of the books, they write capital means money. Right? When you're talking about factors of production, again, when you're talking about factors of production, they write capital means money. Capital is not money in this context. Capital is anything that is man-made. Anything that is man-made, which is further used in production. I'll repeat the statement. It's a definition, by the way. Capital in this context is anything that is man-made, which is used for further production. For example, here, please tell me, is the machine naturally available? How many of you believe that you will dig up earth, right? You will dig up certain at certain depth, and machines are available, and you will take the machine, clean it, put lot of water, clean it, and start manufacturing? No, machines are man-made. Machines have to be manufactured by us, right? So anything that is man-made, which will be used again for further production, right? So these are assets which are created by us. Very simple concept. Which are assets created by us, which we will use further for manufacturing process. For example, any manufacturing facility that we have built, anything that we have built, where we are going to conduct a manufacturing process, that's an asset, that's a capital for me. Machines, that's a capital for me. The highways, that's a capital for me. Because please tell me, you will manufacture a product in one region, To manufacture it, you will have to transport raw materials. How will you do that? Roads. You have manufactured a product. You need to ensure that the product is available to the consumers. How do you ensure that? Again, roads. So I hope you understand this. I hope you understand this. Capital means anything that is produced by us, manufactured by us, which will be further used in the manufacturing of other goods. So one is land. Land here, please understand, means which is naturally available to us. Land means which is naturally available to us. That is, in nature, it is available. Whether you are involved or not, in nature that is available. For example, please tell me surface of land. Surface of land. Don't you think surface of land? For example, many of you ask me, sir, what do you mean by surface of land? Imagine today you have 5 crore rupees. Imagine, right? Early morning, I want you people to be happy. Imagine you have 5 crore rupees, right? You will use this 5 crore rupees to purchase 2 hectares of land, which means you have purchased a surface of land, correct? All of you will agree with me, right? If you have purchased 2 hectares of land in your village or in a city, etc., which means you have purchased the surface. Surface means the outer layer, surface of the land, right? So do you think you have manufactured the surface of land? No, that is naturally available. What about minerals which are available in the earth crust? Naturally available. So anything that is nature made by nature, will classify it under land. Anything that is man made will classify it under capital. Will classify it under capital. So land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship. These are the 4 factors of production. Correct? Now, let me go to the next concept. Slightly technical. We are entering into technicalities now. Listen carefully. Whenever you talk about 4 factors of production, we generally have a concept of cost to the manufacturer and income to the service provider. What do you mean by this? Let me start with a very simple example. Imagine, okay, imagine you have manufactured this bottle. Okay, you have manufactured this bottle, which is there right in front of you in my hand. Now you want to sell it in the market at 100 rupees. Let's say hypothetically, you want to sell it in the market at 100 rupees. Now I'll ask you a question. How did you arrive at 100 rupees? Very simple question, by the way. Right now, some of you will simply say, no, sir, I don't want to sell it at 100. I want to sell it at 1000. I want to sell it at 500. I want to sell it at 890 rupees. Whatever be the price, don't worry about the price. I will ask you a question. How did you arrive at that price? Can I simply say you arrived at this price after considering whatever charges you paid for labor, whatever charges you paid on capital, correct? Whatever charges you incurred on land in the sense, again, land in the sense, surface of land, right? Raw materials that you have purchased, etc. And finally, can I say you arrived at this price by including your profit? All of you okay with this? Let me know. All of you okay with this? You decided 100 rupees, sir, 100. On what basis? You said, sir, I paid 500 for capital. Include that. You say, sir, I've paid 200 rupees for labor. Include that. You said, sir, I want to earn a profit of 100 rupees. Include that also. So by including all these factors of production cost, I repeat, by including the cost that you as a company have incurred on the factors of production, can I say you will arrive at a price, right? So this is the basic idea. Now, please tell me, out of this 100 rupee, let's say hypothetically, you decided 10 rupee was for labor, 20 rupee was for capital, 30 rupee is for land, and finally 40 rupees is the profit. Get the sum total, you will get 100 rupees. Now, can I simply say, if I am your worker, I'm working for you, you have paid 10 rupees to me. The number is there right in front of you. You have paid 10 rupees to me. Can I say this 10 rupee is my income? Let me know. Can I say this 10 rupee is nothing but my income? So please look at it now. This is technicality. Once you understand, it's very easy for you. Now tell me, is it okay if I say 10 rupees on one side is cost for the company, and on the other side, same 10 rupee is income for the labor? I'll repeat it so that you understand it. 10 rupee, it is a cost. Cost is nothing but expenditure. Cost for the company. And the same 10 rupees is income for the labor. That is the service provider. So can I say this 10 rupee, whenever it is cost for the company, can I call this as a factor cost? Let me know. Can I call this 10 rupee as a factor cost? Factor cost means expenditure incurred by the company. And same 10 rupee, can I call this as factor income for the labor? Let me know. Please do let me know if there is any doubt regarding this. The 10 rupee, it is a cost. It is an expenditure incurred by the company. And the same 10 rupee is income earned by me. So the 10 rupee, whenever it is an income, I will call this as a factor income. I'm receiving factor income. And the company is incurring factor expenditure or factor cost. It's a very simple concept. In the same way, please understand, in the same way, company will purchase, right, let's say machine. Right, company will purchase machine. Machine is part of the capital. So if the company will purchase machine, company has to pay money. So can I say this machine on which the company has paid money, it is a factor cost for the company. Let's say in this example, it is 20 rupees. But for another company, for the seller of the machine, that 20 rupee will become factor income. Correct? And some of you are asking, sir, why are you using the term factor? My dear, 4 factors of production. Please don't keep on forgetting everything. There are 4 factors of production. Land is a factor. Labor is a factor. Entrepreneurship is a factor. So any expenditure that the company will incur on a factor, I will call it as a factor cost. And I'm a labor. I'm also a factor because I'm providing services to you. I'm a labor, by the way. And I am earning income by providing a factor service. I'll call this as a factor income. So argument is same, right? Factor cost and factor income. So now can I simply say 20 rupees is a factor cost as well as factor income, and 30 rupees, right? Imagine you paid 30 rupees to get a land on rent. That's a factor cost for the company. But for the person who owns the land, that 30 rupee will become factor income. And finally, right, some of the students will get confused here. Listen carefully. Finally, fourth one. If you are the owner of the company, if you are the entrepreneur for the company, don't you think the profits of the company will belong to you? Let me know. Right? If you are the owner of the company, the profits of the company will belong to you. That's natural. The owner should take away the profits. So now tell me, is it okay if I say, because the company is using entrepreneurial services, you are the owner, you are taking risk, the company is using your services, company will pay 40 rupee profit to you. So can I call this 40 rupee as a factor cost for the company? But for the owner of the company, this 40 rupee will become factor income. Is it okay? Can we go forward? Anybody has a problem? Please do let me know. Once you understand this, the further process becomes easier because we are going to use the same concept day after tomorrow when we discuss GDP, gross domestic product also. Can we go forward now? Sir, what is the difference between factors of production, means of production? Generally, means are nothing but the resources. Means are nothing but the inputs. Okay. The last one, I'll repeat it again. You are the owner of the company. which means the company is using your services. Yes or no? You're the owner, and please understand, legally speaking, owner and company are two different entities. Is it okay? Owner and company are two different legal entities. You cannot say owner is company. No. Company is a different. Company is registered. Company has a registration number, etc. Owner is different. Right? So I hope you understand. The company is using owner services. Owner services means owner is taking the risk by investing money. Owner is hiring people, etc. Now the company makes profit. Profits of the company should go to the owner. Now, because the company is paying the profit to the owner, can I say, for owner, profits are income. For company, because it is paying, it is an expenditure. That is basically the concept here. So profit for the company becomes an expenditure factor cost, and for the owner, it becomes factor income. Can we go forward? Any issue here? Same thing that I've discussed now, I've written it in a table. Okay, same thing that I've discussed, I've written it in the table. Right? That is factor cost and factor income. So factor of production is a land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship. So whatever factor cost is incurred, technical names now, technical terms, whatever is the factor cost incurred by the company is called as a rent. The technical term is rent. And the same amount will be there on the other side, that is called as factor income. For labor, wages are paid. It is the same, that is a factor cost, is nothing but factor income. The interest, I repeat, interest means what? Whenever you purchase anything that is man-made, whenever you purchase, right, you will pay money for it. I hope you understand. For example, please tell me, you want to manufacture this bottle, will you purchase machines? Yes or no? Yes. You will purchase something that is manufactured by some other company to manufacture this bottle? Yes. The money that you pay, I'll call this as technically interest. The money that you pay technically is called as interest. And the one who is going to sell it to you, be it raw material, be it any machinery, etc., they will earn money, that is called as interest. And finally, profit. So profit is a factor cost because the company pays it and the owner receives it, entrepreneur receives it, hence called as factor income. So factor cost, factor income. Please remember this. Please remember this. Why? When we discuss GDP, again we will come back to this. Done. So factor cost is nothing but it is an expenditure incurred by the company, and factor income, it is the income generated by the service providers. Shall we go forward now? Can we go forward? How will they choose profit? My dear, there is no question of choosing profit. Imagine you have generated a revenue of 100 rupee or 500, 800. Out of that, you already know how much is the expenditure for labor, how much is the expenditure for wages, for interest, how much is the expenditure for rent. Whatever is left out, that is called as profit. Whatever is left out is called as profit. Is interest additional money? So I hope you understand. Interest is not additional money. Interest refers to whatever money the company will pay whenever they purchase capital. Is it okay? I'll repeat it again. Whenever the company will purchase capital, the company has to pay money. Whatever money they will pay, we'll call that as interest. Okay? Done. Now, let me go to the next concept, systems. Different economic systems, different systems which are followed. There are three very important systems. Please remember them. The questions on this have been mainly been asked in the mains. Questions on this concept has been mainly asked in the mains, so remember them. First one, capitalism. Second one is socialism. Third one is mixed economy. First one is capitalism, second one is socialism, third one is mixed economy. Now, before I start explaining to you, Let me give you examples first. Let me give you examples, then we can pick up, right? What are the meanings of these systems? Capitalism, USA is considered to be the best example. USA, Japan, Germany, etc. Generally, we say that is the example of a capitalism. Socialism, China. Not now, but earlier China. Or for that matter, let's say Cuba, earlier the economy that was followed in Cuba, or Venezuela, right? These are generally considered to be examples of socialism, or former Soviet Union, USSR. And mixed economy, the best example of mixed economy is India. Many countries or most of the countries around the world are nothing but mixed economies itself. Now, what is the meaning of capitalism? What is the meaning of socialism? And what is the meaning of mixed economy? These are the different economic systems. Let's try and understand. Let me start with the idea of a capitalism. Now, how do I differentiate capitalism, socialism, and mixed economy? Please remember, there is a concept called as the central problems of economy. Central problems of economy. Now, what do you mean by central problems in the economy? We have limited resources. Again, everything will go back to limited resources only. We have limited resources. Now, the question is, when we have limited resources, what should we produce? What to be produced? That is the central question or the first question. What to be produced? Because please tell me, can I use a land? Can I use a land for production of goods? Also, production in agriculture sector? Please do let me know. Can we use land for production in agriculture sector as well as production in manufacturing activity? Are some of you are saying no? Why? Why? Some of you are saying no. Why? Why, my dear? For example, imagine you have 2 hectares of land. Again, rather than you, let's say me, I have 2 hectares of land. Can I use this 2 hectares of land for agriculture sector? Yes or no? Can I use this for agriculture sector? Yes. Instead of agriculture sector, can I use this land to set up a manufacturing facility? Again, answer is yes. So can I say resources that we have, same resource will have multiple uses? Right? Think of it. Same resource will have multiple uses. I'll give you one more example just to make it very clear to you. Imagine I have steel or I have plastic. Now please tell me, can I use plastic to manufacture a bottle and also in the manufacturing of car? Possible? Yes. Can I use steel in manufacturing of a bottle or in manufacturing of a car? Of course, yes. Right? So resources can be used in multiple ways. It will have multiple use, right? That's a fact, by the way. Now come back to the concept here. What should be produced? What should I produce? Resources are there. These are limited. What should be produced? How much to be produced? What to be produced? How much to be produced? Should we ensure that this is equally available to all the people? Should we allow the market to determine the prices? How should we sell them? To whom should we sell them? These are called as central problems of economy. All of you okay with this? What are the central problems of the economy? How much to be produced? What to be produced? Right? How should we provide access to the people? Where should we sell them? These are called as central problems of economy. Now, whenever the central problems of the economy are resolved, that is, for all of these questions, if the answer is provided by the private sector, I'll repeat it. If answer to all of these questions is private sector will control the resources, private sector will decide what to be produced. Private sector will decide how much to be produced. Private sector will decide the price of the product, etc. Such a system is called as capitalism. All of you okay with this? If the private sector will control the resources and the private sector will decide what to be produced, how much to be produced, at what price it should be sold, where it should be sold, etc., then such a system is called as capitalism. That is called as capitalism. And tell me, if everything is decided by the capitalism, or if everything is decided by the private sector in capitalism, don't you think the role of the government is minimal here? The role of the government is very minimal, very negligible role for the government, right? That is the concept of capitalism. That is the central theme of capitalism, right? So private ownership of factors of production is allowed. Companies, right, that is investors are investing money, they are producing goods, they are selling the goods in the market. And the idea of capitalism is also known by one more term, free economy. Free economy means government role is minimal, private sector will decide everything, private sector will produce, private sector will sell, etc., etc. Okay. Freedom to produce, sell, as well as purchase. I have 100 rupees. Can I produce goods and services? Whatever I want to produce? Of course, yes. Can you purchase anything in the market using the 100 rupee? If that is sold in the market, that is using 100 rupee, can you go to the market and purchase a book? Yes. Can you travel by a metro? Yes. Can you go to a movie? Yes. Can you purchase popcorn? Assuming all of that is affordable within 100 rupee. Answer is yes. So producer has a freedom, consumer also has a freedom. So role of government is minimal, right? Generally limited. Generally, role of the government is just limited, wherein the government will provide defense, government will provide health, right? Government will provide services of health, services of education, legal services, etc. So the role of the government is very much limited, right? So the central theme of the capitalism is private sector will invest and they want to earn profits. Private sector wants to generate huge amount of profits. That's a basic idea of a capitalism. Now, what is the advantage? What is the benefit of following a model of capitalism? The advantage is that, one, if private sector is present, don't you think there'll be a lot of competition, right? There'll be a lot of competition. And because of a very high competition, please tell me, what do you think will happen to quality of services provided? What do you think will happen to value addition services? What will be, right, let's say, pricing of the product? So point is very simple, competition is very high, market will decide how much will be supplied, how much will be the price, right? The quality of services will be superior, etc. Done. So that is one. Second, government doesn't need to intervene here. Government doesn't need to intervene because the competition is so high, right? Government role is negligible here. Market itself will correct. Everything will be done by the market itself. For example, please let me know, if in capitalism supply of a certain product becomes very high, don't you think automatically, because the supply is very high, prices will start coming down for the product? Yes or no? In a market where the supply of product becomes very, very high, demand is not there, right? So don't you think, because the supply is so high, people are not purchasing it, automatically the market will absorb this information, supply will be adjusted. So the government role is very limited, right? For example, let's say 5 companies are selling a similar product. 5 companies are selling a similar product. If one company increases the price because there are 4 more competitors or 5 more competitors, don't you think automatically the demand for this company's product will come down, demand for other products will increase? And the company which has increased the prices will understand that and adjust the price accordingly. So in case of capitalism, role of the government is minimal, market will absorb the information and right, it will automatically adjust as per the requirements of the market. Efficient utilization of resources. The private sector, please tell me, between private sector and government, who do you think can utilize the resources much more efficiently? I hope you understand my question. between private sector and government, who do you think can utilize the resources efficiently? It is always the private sector. It is always the private sector. Some of you saying government, no, my dear, it is private sector in terms of utilization. And you might be thinking, sir, why? Why is that private sector utilizes more efficiently? Because their objective is to earn profit. Their objective is to earn profits. Because their agenda is profits, they will utilize the resources much more efficiently. Okay, market will become more efficient. It will lead to higher production, higher employment, etc. That is nothing but growth. More production means more growth. Investment in research and development will be higher in capitalism because they want to earn profits. They want to produce goods. They want to provide new type of services. So research and development will be attracting a lot of investment, higher investment under capitalism. Right? So these are some of the advantages or merits associated with capitalism. Having said so, are there any concerns? Are there any problems with the model of capitalism, system of capitalism? Of course, yes. Point number one, there'll be huge income inequality as well as wealth inequality in capitalism. I'll repeat the statement. There'll be huge income inequality and wealth inequality because of capitalism. Now, some of you will generally be confused between income and wealth. Please understand this. Income is how much money you are earning. Wealth is how much assets you are having. All of you okay with the difference here? Please do let me know. Income focuses on the money that you are earning, whereas wealth is how much assets you have. So don't you think in capitalism, because let's assume, let's start with an example so that you understand it. You are the entrepreneur, you are the owner of a company. Now, by default in capitalism, when you are the entrepreneur or the owner of the company, don't you think the amount of money that you will earn on annual basis will be very, very high compared to many others in the economy? Does it make sense or not? Because your earnings are so high. Now, some of you will ask, sir, why the earnings are so high? My dear, you are taking lot of risk. You are investing money, you are taking lot of risk. So naturally, you will say, again, that will lead to income inequality. I do understand. But naturally, you will say, because I'm investing, I'm taking the risk, I will take away the profits. Right? Large amount of money in the profits is going to the owners of the company, entrepreneurs in the economy. As a result, this will lead to income inequality, also wealth inequality. Right? So in issue is wealth inequality as well as income inequality will start expanding. Now, please tell me, as a result of this, don't you think different classes are getting created in the economy? Classes means certain sections which is very rich, ultra rich, very, very high amount of wealth and income. Large population has a small amount of income or no income. So is there a class getting created in the economy? Of course, yes. And as a result of this, don't you think there will be certain conflicts between the classes over a period of time? You may not observe it today, but over a period of time, large population, because they feel oppressed, they feel suppressed by these very ultra rich people, there might be class conflicts between ultra rich or very rich population in the society and people who are finding it very difficult to even survive. Right? So one is wealth, second one is income inequality, third one can be class conflict. Harmful goods are also being provided. Sir, what do you mean by harmful goods? Please do let me know. There is a class called as sin goods. Sin goods are those goods which will hurt the consumer. Right? This will hurt the consumer. This will hurt the consumer. For example, tobacco products. Correct? Right? Or the best example, liquor products. Early morning, 7:20, we are discussing tobacco and liquor. Right? So tobacco products and liquor products. Right? Don't you think the consumers will be harmed by the consumption of this? Of course, yes. But because there's a capitalism, there's a freedom for the private sector to produce it, they will produce it. And because we are consumers, we have the freedom to purchase anything that we want because we have money, right? We will consume it. So even harmful goods will be produced, right? For example, even weapons. Weapons are harmful goods. Class conflicts are done, and finally business cycle. Now today we will not discuss business cycle. Most probably, right, in the third session when I take up GDP, we'll discuss the concept of business cycle. I've written it clearly here. It will be discussed under the second chapter, that is national income. So please don't worry, we'll discuss it separately. And some of you are asking, sir, you have skipped this particular table. You have skipped the table. I have not skipped it. Whatever is there in the table, separately I've given in the slides. I'm discussing it separately. The sum total of all of it, it is there in the table. For example, have a look at the features under capitalism. Please tell me, did we not discuss all of them? Let me know, did we not discuss all of these separately in the form of merits, demerits, as well as features? Okay. Now, second one, exactly opposite to idea of capitalism is socialism. Exactly on the opposite side is socialism. Now, what is this feature of a socialism? How do we identify the term or economy which is socialistic in nature? Please remember, socialism is nothing but a planned economy. Planned economy. They will call this as a centrally planned economy. Either they will use the term centrally planned economy, or else they will also use the term central command economy. Now, what do you mean by centrally planned economy or central command economy, or for that matter, idea of a socialism? Whenever the control of the factors of production, I repeat, whenever the control over the factors of production is there with the state means government here. Whenever the ownership means control of factors of production is there with the state, that system is called as socialistic. Is it okay? I'll repeat the statement here. What is a very important feature of a socialism? The control of factors of production is there with the state. And because the government or the state has the control over the factors of production, now can I simply say, government will decide who will produce what goods. Government will decide what goods should be produced, who will produce it, how much it will be produced, at what prices the goods will be distributed amongst the people. The government will decide, the state will decide, right, all of these questions, that is the central problems of the economy. That model of economy is called as socialism. Example, earlier Cuba, Venezuela, former Soviet Union, or even for that matter China, very greatly is considered to be very close to the idea of a socialism. All resources are owned by the government. Central planning is done. That is, central planning means government will take all the decisions. Government through their companies will manufacture, will produce goods and services, sell it in the market either at a very low price, at a very high price. Government will create a lot of employment. Government will utilize all the resources in the economy, etc. The objective of a socialism is to provide welfare to the people. Remember this, objective of a socialism is to provide welfare to the people. Increase the welfare to the people, not profit earning. Governments do not run behind profits. Please remember this. Governments do not run behind profits. For example, take Government of India. Government of India operates the railways. All of you will agree with me? Anybody in the classroom who says, no, sir, government doesn't run or operate railways? Government operates railways. But if you have been reading newspapers, don't you think multiple times in multiple years, government has been incurring losses by operating railways? By running railways, government has been incurring losses. Just because government is incurring losses, can they increase the tariff rates in railways? If they increase the tariff rates in railways, that will hurt common man. That will have a huge impact on the common man, because common man mainly uses railways as a mode of a transportation. So despite knowing the fact that they are incurring losses by operating railways, government is continuing to operate it. But imagine instead of government, it was a private sector company. Let me know. Instead of government, if it was a private sector company, now don't you think, right? The private sector company, because they're incurring losses, they will either shut down railways or else they will start increasing the tariffs in railways. Why? Private sector is working for profit. Government is not working for profit. It is working for maximizing welfare amongst the people. Done? Right? So maximizing social welfare, social benefit is a central theme of socialism. And competition is absent in most cases because the government might simply decide, I will not allow, government might decide, I will not allow any private sector participation. Right? But again, please understand, it is entirely the decision of the government. In certain case of socialism, government might simply say, only in certain regions where I feel it is required, I will allow private sector to operate. Okay, right? These are the features. Now, what are the merits of socialism? Right? What are the merits of socialism? One, it will reduce inequalities. Right? Don't you think private sector, that is private ownership is right removed by the government? Let's say completely removed by the government under socialism. Wealth inequalities would be addressed, whereas the government is investing money. Right? Government is producing goods through their companies. Government is selling the goods through their companies, etc. Wealth inequality would be addressed. Allocation of resources will be based on the requirement of the society. If the government feels more agriculture sector or more agriculture production is required, then government will ensure that more and more land will be utilized for agriculture production rather than utilizing for manufacturing sector. Promotion of social welfare can also be done under the concept of socialism. Now, what are the demerits of socialism? What are the concerns related to socialism? First one, if everything is controlled by the government, which means lot of government officials are involved, lot of bureaucrats are involved. For example, you want to become a bureaucrat in the future, IAS officer, IPS officer. You're a bureaucrat, by the way, right? Once you become that, you become a part of bureaucracy. Now, please tell me, if the bureaucracy, the presence of bureaucracy is there in every section of the industry or every part of the economy, don't you think that can lead to corruption in the system? Think of it. Again, I'm not saying it will lead to, I use the term that can lead to, right, harassment of the people, that can lead to corruption in the system, right? You might create a system where it is becoming very difficult for the person, for the common man to avail certain services given by the government. All of this is called as red tapeism. All of this is called as red tapeism. What do you mean by red tapeism? The process or the rules or regulations are so difficult, these are becoming a problem for a common man or for the other economic agents. You have created such a system which is very difficult, right, for the common man to follow them, for the other stakeholders in the economy to follow them. I'll give you a very simple example. Don't write this in the exam, but tell me whether you have seen this or not. Have you seen a system wherein you want to apply for a driving license, the kind of form you are supposed to fill, the kind of test you are supposed to provide, the officials they are supposed to approach, all of this, don't you think it is a classic example of red tapeism in India? Let me know. Again, don't write this. Don't say government is corrupt in the exams. If you go to apply for a driving license, do you think the system is very easy? You can take the form, you can understand all the terminologies they have used, right? Don't you think the process is very cumbersome, very complicated process? And as a result of that, has it not led to certain presence of middlemen in the system? where right through the middleman will pay certain amount of money, and you need to go to the office, and right, the driving license will come to your home. Don't write this in the exam. I hope you understand. Please do not write this in the exam. But I'm trying to convey to you people, what do you mean by red tapeism? Why it will lead to corruption in the system, etc. So all of you will agree with me. When the concept of socialism is followed, it can lead to red tapeism. It can lead to a lot of corruption in the system. Absence of incentives for promotion of efficiency, for utilization of the resources, etc. What is the meaning of it? If government will own the companies, government will invest money, set up a company, right? Don't you think the company, because there is no competition, there is no competition. Private sector means competition. Because there is no competition, that will automatically lead to inefficient utilization of the resources. I can give you an example, by the way. For example, in case of India, please tell me, BSNL, until very recently, don't tell me today, BSNL. Right? Don't you think until very recently, BSNL had a monopoly in the market? Right? We started allowing private sector telecom companies only post 1990s in India. But before that also, many people used telephone services. Who was the only service provider? BSNL. Right? So imagine at a time period only one company was there. Now today, multiple private sector companies are competing with BSNL. Why? What is the reason? Services, inefficient utilization of resources, very costly services, human labor cost was very high, etc. So the idea is, whenever you follow socialism, it might lead to inefficient utilization. And they don't have any advantage also. Even if they utilize resources, it's not private sector. No bonus is given. No huge salary hikes are given. It's a government owned company, right? Then finally, the limited freedom of choice. Government might decide liquor production will not be allowed. Socialism. I hope you understand. Not in India, but in socialism, government might simply decide no liquor production, no tobacco production. Why? It will harm the society. So now tell me, you might have 100 rupees. If that is done, do you have a freedom to consume liquor? Do you have a freedom to purchase tobacco products? No, no freedom of choice, no freedom of production there. Right? So these are some of the concerns or issues associated with socialism. And finally, those who are asking, right, sir, break, etc., will complete mixed economy, then we'll take a break. What is the mixed economy? What is this concept of mixed economy? Now, what is this mixed economy? Mixed economy simply means, in the model of mixed economy, the factors of production are either controlled by the private sector and the government. The factors of production are under the ownership of the government as well as private sector. For example, India. Please tell me, are you able to see in Indian economy? I repeat, are you able to see in Indian economy, in certain sectors, both government and private sector are present? Correct? In certain sectors where government and private sector both are present. In certain sectors where mainly private sector is present. In certain sectors where only government is present. For example, please tell me anything related to nuclear energy. Nuclear energy, right? Is it fair to say in India, nuclear energy is under the complete control of government of India? Complete control of government of India. Government of India will mine. Government of India will set up company to purify it. Government of India will set up company to dispose nuclear energy, etc., etc. Complete control of government of India. Nuclear energy. Nuclear energy. I hope you understand. On the other side, what about telecommunications? Let me know. What about telecommunications? That is telecom sector. Please tell me, is it fair to say in case of telecommunications, you can see both government also, private sector also present, right? What about civil aviation? Civil aviation means flying, civil aviation. Mostly it is private sector. So argument is simple, right? The government also, along with the private sector, both of them will control factors of production. In some of them, government will provide the goods and services. In some of them, private sector will provide the goods and services. That model is called as a mixed economy. That model is referred as a mixed economy. What are the features? Ownership of means of production is with both government and private sector. Second, solutions to the economic problems, right? Who will produce? How much will be produced? At what price it will be sold? To whom it will be sold? The solutions to the problems of the economy are given by both private sector as well as government. Third, private sector has the freedom. No doubt, private sector has the freedom, but the control always is with the government. I'll repeat the statement. Private sector has a freedom, no doubt, but the control is always with the government. Sir, what do you mean by this? Is it okay in the future, let's say tomorrow or day after tomorrow, government of India might announce that all the private sector companies in telecom sector will be owned by government of India? Possible or not? I'm just telling you, possible or not? Right? Can government of India tomorrow announce all the companies in civil aviation will be owned by government of India? Possibility? Yes, possibility is there. Why? Please understand. There are two terms. One is called as nationalization. One is called as nationalization, and the other one is called as privatization. One is called as nationalization, and the other one is called as privatization. Privatization, I don't think so there is any difficulty because the name itself will indicate what you're expecting. Privatization means ownership will get transferred from the government to private sector. The best recent example that I can quote is Air India. All of you will agree? Privatization, I'll repeat it. Ownership will get transferred from the government to the private sector. Is it okay if I say the best example in recent times is Air India? Air India, right? It was owned by government. It was transferred to the private sector. What about nationalization? In recent times, you will not get examples of nationalization because we have discontinued. For a long time period, we have not done any kind of nationalization. But in the past, coal sector was nationalized. Coal sector, right? Coal sector was nationalized. Nationalization means what? Exactly opposite. Ownership will get transferred from the private sector to the government. Ownership will get transferred from the private sector to the government. Coal sector, right? Aviation sector, civil aviation sector, banking sector, etc. So in the past we have gone for nationalization, but today presently government is not going for nationalization. We generally are going for privatization. Why? How privatization is done? Is there any advantage in this, etc., etc.? You will understand when I take up one chapter called as industries. There we'll discuss the idea of a privatization in detail. Please do not worry about it. So private sector has certain freedom, but overall control is always with the government. Now, what are the merits of mixed economy? One, we'll be able to produce more goods. More goods means growth, right? Always remember this. More goods means growth. So economic growth can be promoted. Employment can be promoted. We'll be able to promote balanced growth. What do you mean by balanced growth here? In certain regions, let's say capitalism. If you promote capitalism, is it possible that only certain regions will have a very high industrialization, very high employment generation, and rest of the country, it might face poverty? Think of it. I'll repeat it again. If you promote capitalism, is it possible, and in fact it happens, is it possible that only certain areas, only in certain regions, growth will be very high, production will be very high, investment will be very high, employment will be very high, etc., and rest of the area, rest of the country, poverty can be there, employment will not be generated, investment will not happen? So don't you think that is not balanced growth? It's not balanced growth, right? It is going to create regional inequalities. It is going to create regional imbalances. Now, if you follow mixed economy, because the government is also involved, government can invest in a certain region where investment is very low. Government can set up facilities or start promotion of manufacturing in certain regions where employment generation is very less. So balanced growth can be promoted in mixed economy. Balanced growth can be promoted in the mixed economy. Okay, utilization of resources will be much better here. Government will protect interest of all the sections of the society, because government is also going to provide certain goods and services. It is not only private sector, even government will provide certain goods and services. Okay, so these are the merits of mixed economy. Finally, the demerits. What are the demerits? Is it the best model? What are the demerits? One, whenever private sector is present, right? For example, India, take India. Whenever private sector is present, whatever might be the intention of the government, don't you think that will lead to income inequality as well as wealth inequality? Again, think of an example, India, right? India is a mixed economy. So don't you think in India, because private sector is present, there'll be income inequality as well as wealth inequality? No doubt government's intention is not that. You cannot simply say government wants to create income inequality. No. But because of the presence of the private sector, whether you like it or don't like it, income inequality will be there. Wealth inequality will always be there. Right? For example, in case of India, right, when I take up inclusive growth, there's a chapter, inclusive growth. In case of India, more than 20% of the income that is generated, I repeat, more than 20% of the income that is generated, it is going to top 1% of the population. I'll repeat the statement. Right? A country such as India, more than 20% of the income goes to top 1% of the population. Is it not income inequality? The bottom 50% of the population is earning around 13%, 13% of total income. So whether you like it or don't like it, because private sector is present, income inequality, wealth inequality will exist. Right? There is always a constant fear of nationalization. What if government will change tomorrow and the next government will go for nationalization? Can it happen? Of course, yes. Of course, yes, it can happen. Right? I hope you understand, because the ideology of the government might be different. Ideology might be different. So different ideologies, right? The economic policies will also change. One government might go for more of a nationalization, another government can go for a privatization. So because there is a presence of the private sector is concerned that if government will change the policies, I might lose ownership. So there is a concern, fear of nationalization. And finally, income inequality plus public sector companies are present. These generally, not always, these generally tend to overutilize the resources. Efficiency is very lesser. They might be loss making for the government. Right? So these are some of the demerits which are associated with mixed economy. Right? Now, please tell me, looking at all of these systems, right, that is socialism, and some of you are asking, sir, is there a difference between socialism and communism, etc.? There are different variations. Right? For example, within socialism, there is a Fabian socialism, Gandhian socialism, Nehruvian socialism. Different degrees are there. You don't worry. For GS paper 3, just stick to the basics of it. Now, please tell me, looking at all the three, don't you think mixed economy is the best model that India can adopt? Let me know. Right? Looking at all the three, you have a socialism, you have a capitalism, you have also mixed economy. Looking at all the three, right? Don't you think mixed economy is the best model that is available for us to adopt? Those who are saying no, please tell me why. Some of you are saying no. Sir, I want socialism. My dear, socialism will lead to a lot of complications. Lot of complications are there. For example, already corruption is a concern in India. If you adopt socialism and you want to become bureaucrats, so imagine to what extent it can lead to red tapeism. right? And there is no freedom of consumption. Freedom of choice is very limited in socialism, right? Some of you will say, in that case, let's just run to the idea of capitalism. Let me run to capitalism then. Let's adopt capitalism. Already the concern is the Indian economy houses one of the largest poor population in the world. One of the poorest population is there in India. In fact, I told you, read today's newspaper. As per FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization, 74% of Indians, more than 74% of the Indians are not able to afford healthy diet. Are not able to afford healthy diet, more than 74%. And the reason they are citing is incomes are not increasing at a very faster pace. Incomes are not increasing at faster pace. Prices are increasing. Incomes are not increasing at a faster pace, which means you cannot afford a healthy diet. So if you adopt capitalism, there is no guarantee that your income will suddenly increase. It might lead to higher income for the rich people, but still lower income for large population. So I hope you understand there are problems with the idea of a capitalism also, idea of socialism also. What we are trying to do under mixed economy, we are trying to take the best of capitalism as well as the best of socialism. Is it okay? We are trying to take, right? We are trying to take the best of the idea of the capitalism or the features of capitalism as well as the best of socialism. That is what we are trying to do. Okay, done. Right. So these are the three different models of economy that we are expected to follow. Okay, now let me take a break. But before the break, if anybody has any kind of issue, please do let me know. Sir, okay. PPT plus current affairs, is it sufficient? PPT plus static information, book plus current affairs. I would say that should be sufficient. During losses, government can privatize some sectors. Then how can we conclude that government never run behind profits? If you privatize, it is not just to earn money. Please understand, behind privatization, there are multiple objectives. And you're basically thinking by selling a company I've made a profit. No. For example, Air India, do you think the losses that were incurred by Air India have been compensated by selling Air India to a private sector company? Absolutely no. Okay. Which book is good? I've addressed this question earlier, I'll address it again. Whatever book you have, one book, read that. There is absolutely no best book. Do not be under the impression that there is one book, best book, and you will have to read it. No, please don't follow that. Any book, sir, I have Singhania, I have Ramesh Singh, I have this, I have that. One book, stick to that. And again, do not read from first page to last page. Read only the concepts we are going to cover. Okay. Do we need to read NCRTs? The answer is not simple. Why? I'll tell you. There are certain students who are from economics background. If you are from economics background, right, assuming that you have read economics very well in your college, no, you don't need to read NCRT. But if you simply say, sir, right, I read economics in my bachelor's degree as well as a master's degree, but I was reading only to get passing marks, then I would simply say read NCRTs now. Okay, then let's take a break. Let's take a break. We'll restart the discussion at 8:03. We'll restart the discussion at 8:03. Please join back at 8:03. Okay, take a break now. Okay, welcome back. Am I audible? Please do let me know. Am I audible? Can we start now? Okay, done. Thanks. Let's start. Now, next concept that I want to discuss is the idea opportunity cost. Concept of opportunity cost. Now, before looking at the statements given in the slide, let me start with a very simple example. Do not by heart this example. Do not mug up. Understand the concept. Now, let's say hypothetically you have 100 rupees. Hypothetically. And many of you simply say, sir, why 100? I want to have 200. I want to have 1000 rupees. I want to have 1 lakh rupees. Whatever number you take, don't worry. Let's say you have certain amount. Now, using that amount, you have two options. Why two options? These are the best two options that you have. So, one, you can take this 100 rupee and keep this in a fixed deposit in a bank. And let's say the bank will provide you a rate of interest of 6% annually. And the other option that you have is you will take this 100 rupee and start a business. Start certain business. Now, these are the two best options that you have. Now, tell me, if you keep the 100 rupees FD, will you be able to start the business also? Please participate. I'll repeat the statement. You will take this 100 rupee. You have only 100, by the way. Don't say, sir, I have one more 100. I have a secret money, etc. You have only 100. If you take this 100 rupee and keep this in a bank in a fixed deposit, will you be able to start a business? Answer is no. And second question, if you take the 100 rupees, start a business, then will you be able to keep a fixed deposit in the bank? Answer is no, which means out of the two best options you have, you'll have to choose one, you'll have to sacrifice other. All of you okay? Out of the two options that you have, you'll have to choose one and you'll have to sacrifice the next best option, next best alternative. So understand this, whenever you make one choice, that is you choose one and sacrifice the next best alternative, what is what is the benefit, what is the returns you have lost? That is called as opportunity cost. Is it okay? I'll repeat it again. Right? You have two choices, best choices. You'll have to choose one, sacrifice the other. So whenever you choose one and sacrifice the next best option, next best alternative, what is the potential benefit that you have lost? You have sacrificed, you have foregone. That is called as opportunity cost. Meaning what? I'll take this example. Let's start. I'll make you understand. Don't worry. Let's start with an example here. Imagine you take the 100 rupees and start a business. You will take the 100 rupees, start a business, which means you will sacrifice the fixed deposit option. Now, let's say hypothetically after 1 year, you have earned a 0 rupee profit from starting a business. But if you had, I repeat, if you had kept the 100 rupees in the fixed deposit, can I say you would have earned a 6 rupee interest after 1 year? So by choosing option 2, sacrificing option 1 in this example, can I say opportunity cost is a loss of 6 rupees? Let me know. Yes, not okay, problem, confusion, please do let me know. I'll repeat it again. You have 100 rupees and using 100 rupee, you started a business, which means you have sacrificed an opportunity to keep a fixed deposit. Now, let's say after 1 year, just like in movies, after 1 year, you have not earned any profit from the business. You have invested in the business. You have not earned any profit, which means 0 rupees. But if you had taken that option of keeping an FD, you would have earned 6 rupees. which means by choosing option 2 and sacrificing option 1, in this example, can I say opportunity cost is 6 rupees? That is the amount of money that you have sacrificed, returns that you have sacrificed by choosing option 2, then option 1 is 6 rupees. Now, some of you will simply say, sir, what if I had earned a certain amount of profit? Rather than earning 0 rupee profit, what if I had earned, let's say, 2 rupees here? Now, think of it. Can I say in this second example, 2 rupee here, sacrificed option 6 rupee, even now, opportunity cost is a loss of 4 rupee. Negative 4 rupee. Opportunity cost even now is a negative 4 rupee. All of you okay? Now, third example. Sir, what if I had earned 10 rupees profit? You're assuming 0. You're assuming 2 rupees. What if I had earned 10 rupees? Then congrats. Your opportunity cost is positive 4 rupees. All of you are okay? Your opportunity cost is positive. Positive 4 rupees means what? By choosing option 2 and sacrificing option 1, right, you have earned extra 4 rupees. Is it okay? Additional 4 rupee returns you have earned. Right? That's a basic idea of opportunity cost. All of you are okay with this concept? Please do let me know. All of you okay with this concept? Opportunity cost simply means, right, you have limited resources. Start with the first statement. Start with the first statement that we discussed today. You have limited resources. Because you have limited resources, you cannot produce everything. You cannot purchase everything. You cannot consume everything, which means you will have to sacrifice one option, that is the next best alternative, to, right, to decide on a certain option. Sacrifice one, gain in another. Now, because you have sacrificed one option and chosen the other, what is the potential benefit you have lost? That is called as opportunity cost. So opportunity cost can be negative also. Opportunity cost can be positive as well. In this example, let's say you have chosen option 2 and sacrificed option 1, which means you would have earned 6 rupee. If you had chosen option 1, you would have earned 6 rupee. But if you earn 2 rupees by choosing option 2 as a profit, then your opportunity cost is negative 4 rupees. Negative 4. All of you okay with this? Negative 4. But rather than earning profit of 2 rupees, what if you earn profit of 15 rupees? If you earn profit of 15 rupees instead of 2 rupees, then your opportunity cost is positive 9 rupees. So opportunity cost can be negative also. Opportunity cost can be positive as well. So based on what is the returns you are earning from the option that you have chosen, you will determine what is your opportunity cost. Can we go forward now? So another name for opportunity cost is also alternative cost. It is a potential benefit or returns foregone whenever one alternative is chosen over the next best alternative. It happens because we want to produce a lot of goods and services. We want to consume a lot of goods and services. But the amount of resources we have are very much limited. So I cannot use the limited resources to produce all, to consume all. So I'll have to sacrifice in order to choose one option. Right? In opportunity cost, there is always a trade-off. Sacrifice. Trade-off means a sacrifice. You sacrifice one to choose other. When you choose one, you'll have to forego the other option that is available. So what is the formula for opportunity cost? Return on the option 1 minus return on option 2. Can we go forward? Sir, how will you calculate if if you have chosen the first option? Let's start. Earlier example, I said you will choose option 2 and sacrifice option 1. Now let's say you will choose option 1 and sacrifice option 2. Let's say. So in case of option 1, imagine you will get 6 rupees. Again, you will make a comparison. Imagine you will get 6 rupees. And in case of option 2, if you had chosen option 2, if you had earned, let's say, 4 rupee profit, can I say in this example, opportunity cost is positive 2? I'll repeat it. Simple. Please listen to me. Listen to me first. Okay. Option 2, you sacrifice. Option 1, you choose, which means guaranteed you will get 6 rupee returns after 1 year. And if you had chosen option 2, you would have earned a profit of 4 rupees, which means in this example, opportunity cost is positive 2. And if it is opposite, that is, let's say instead of 4 rupee, if you had earned a profit of 9 rupee, then the opportunity cost will be negative 3. It will be negative 3. Is it okay? This is how opportunity cost is generally calculated. Can we go ahead? Without starting a business, how will you determine profit or losses? We'll generally make a comparison. We'll make comparisons, right? Because obviously, if you have not chosen a path, if you have sacrificed a path, there is no way to find out what would have happened. But we'll make a comparison, right? We'll generally make a comparison to somebody else who has started. That is how. Can opportunity cost be 0? Yes, opportunity cost can also be 0. Remember the example here. Whenever the goods are available free in nature, I'll repeat the statement. There is a concept called as a free goods. What is the meaning of free goods? The goods which are available in nature free of a cost, these are called as free goods. Is it okay? I'll repeat the statement. Whenever the goods are available in nature free of a cost, right, that is called as a free good. The free goods do not have any opportunity cost. Opportunity cost for a free good is 0 rupees. Is it okay? Can we go forward now? Opportunity cost for a free good. Again, when I say free good here, it simply means a good which is available in nature free of a cost. For example, air. Please tell me, to breathe in the air, are we paying any amount of money? Right now you are breathing, I'm also breathing. Are we paying any money to the government for this? No. Are we paying a company any money for this? Absolutely no. So there is no question of choice here. There is no question of option here. So in that context, the opportunity cost is 0 for free goods. Right? And again, free goods simply means the goods in this context which are available free of a cost in nature. Okay. Now, come to the next concept, law of demand and law of supply. Two very important laws here, right? Be very careful. Questions have been asked by UPSC on these laws. Okay, one is a law of demand, second one is a law of supply. Now, what is this law of demand? Remember this, whenever you talk about law of demand, we are talking from the perspective, we are talking from the consumer side. We are discussing the consumer angle here. And whenever you talk about law of supply, which we'll discuss after some time, we will discuss that from seller's angle. Seller's angle. All of you okay with this? Because some of you will get confused. Law of demand always discusses from the angle of consumer, from the perspective of a consumer. Whereas a law of supply discusses from the angle, from the side of a seller. Right? Law of demand, law of supply. First, let's discuss law of demand. Now, whenever you purchase any good in the market, can I say there are certain factors that will influence how many units you will purchase, what good you will purchase. I'll repeat the statement. Whenever you decide or whenever you think of buying a product in the market, there are certain factors which will influence your behavior, which will influence the demand for the good. For example, what is your income? What is the price of the product? What is the price of the related goods? I'll come to this, please don't worry. What is the price of the related goods? What is the taste and preference of a consumer? For example, please tell me, if you're a pure vegetarian, will you go to a restaurant where non-veg is served? Please think of it. You're a pure vegetarian, pakka shakhari, right? So don't you think that will determine where you will consume, what you will consume? Correct? Right? I hope you understand. If you're a vegan, not vegetarian, next level now. If you are a vegan, right, please tell me, will that not determine your taste and preference? Of course, yes. If you are a follower of a particular person, that is, let's say, a sports person, you're a follower of Mr. Virat Kohli, you're a follower of Mr. MS Dhoni, you're a follower of Cristiano Ronaldo, whoever, right, or a actor or actresses. Don't you think whatever brands they endorse, because you follow them, your taste and preferences will also get adjusted accordingly, right? So I hope you understand. So your taste and preference will definitely determine what kind of goods you will consume, what kind of right, let's say, demand you will have in the market. And some of you are asking, what do you mean by vegan? Vegan simply means a person who consumes only the products which are naturally available, which are not at all processed. Which are not at processed. That is, you will consume that is available naturally. For example, fruits, right? For example, right? Let's say the vegetables, milk. You'll simply say it is processed from animals. I'll not consume it. Cheese, it is processed. I'll not consume it. That is called as a vegan. That is one more type of a consumerism that has been developed over a period of time. But come back to one more point here: price of related goods. I'm pretty sure all of you will not have any kind of a doubt in factor 1, 3, and 4. Please do let me know. Factor 1, 3, and 4, these are very straightforward. What is the price of the product? In fact, that is the most important factor. What is your income? What is your taste and preference? Right? That's very straightforward. That will influence the demand. What is this related goods? What is the concept of related goods? Now I'll come back to this slide. Please don't panic. Don't start saying that, sir, you're skipping slides, etc. I'll go back to slide number 24. Please don't worry. Now, whenever you talk about related goods, the definition is very simple. Related goods are those goods where the price change in one good will influence the demand for another good. I'll repeat the statement. What are related goods? These are set of goods where price change in one good will influence the quantity demanded for another good, right? And related goods are classified into two types. One is called as a substitute good. Second one is a complementary good. What do you mean by substitute goods? Substitute goods are those set of goods which can be consumed individually. They will give you the same utility or they will give you the same satisfaction. I'll repeat the statement. What do you mean by a substitute good? Substitute goods are set of goods which can be consumed individually. They will give you the same satisfaction or same utility. For example, please tell me, tea or coffee? Tea or coffee, the best example. Early morning, I'm taking the best example. Tea or coffee? Can I say tea or coffee are substitute goods? And please remember, what is the utility? What is the satisfaction we are talking about here? I want to have a beverage. I want to have a beverage. So either I will have tea or I will have coffee. And one more feature I told you regarding substitute goods is that these are consumed individually. Remember this? These are consumed individually. These are not combined and consumed. These are consumed individually. Which means I'm pretty sure all of you, at least I presume, all of you will either drink tea or drink coffee. Is there anyone in the classroom who says, sir, I will take half a cup of tea, half a cup of coffee, Mix it both, right? Very nicely. I will use that mixing methodology and I'll start drinking. Anybody in the classroom? Right? Just thinking of that itself, right? Basically, some of you will squirm based on that fact itself. So I hope you understand. Generally, again, some of you will say, no, sir, right? Why are you telling like this? From today, I will combine half tea, half coffee, and I'll consume. That's your choice, by the way. That's your choice. That's not a convention. That's not a practice in the market. So either you will consume tea or you will consume coffee. So can I say these are set of goods which can be consumed individually will provide you the same utility? All of you okay with this? Right? What about cold drinks? What about cold drinks? Please tell me. Many of you, I'm pretty sure, have gone to a restaurant. You will ask for Pepsi. They'll say Pepsi is not there. Right? You will say Thumbs Up is there. Sir, Thumbs Up is also not there. Coke is there. And the waiter says, yes, sir, Coke is there. You will ask them to provide Coke. Correct? So cold drinks, you will consume either Pepsi, you will consume either Thumbs Up, you will consume Mountain Dew, 7 Up, whatever it is there. Right? So cold drinks, mobile phones, either mobile phone of company A, company B, these are substitutes. Cars of company A and company B, these are substitutes. For example, most of you, or including me by the way, you will go to a showroom, you will purchase car of company A or car of company B. You will not purchase all the cars like this. You will not consume all the cars right simultaneously like this. So all of you okay with the term substitute goods? Now please tell me, I'm coming to the definition now. Please tell me, if I say price of tea goes up, will that not lead to automatically people shifting from tea to coffee or not? Very simple question to all of you. If the price of tea goes up, don't you think automatically people will start shifting from tea consumption to coffee consumption? And if you remember the definition of related goods, what was the definition of related goods? Price change in one product will lead to price change in a substitute in another good. These are called as substitute products. All of you okay with this? Right? And vice versa also. Sir, if the price of coffee goes up, don't you think automatically people will start shifting towards more of a consumption of tea compared to coffee? So substitutes are those set of goods which are consumed individually. Individually will give you same satisfaction. And these are related goods as well. If price of one good goes up, people generally try to substitute this with a cheaper product available. With a cheaper product that is available. Okay. So this is a substitute good. Come to complementary good. Complementary goods are those set of goods which are consumed in combination. For example, car plus petrol. All of you will agree with me? If you have taken a petrol car, assuming you have taken a petrol car, can I say car and petrol are consumed in combination? Will you purchase a petrol car and try to have electrically charged, right? Will you try to charge it electrically? That's not possible. You will have to use petrol to run the car. What about, right, let's say tea powder and milk, assuming it is for tea, right? Tea powder and milk, these are consumed in combination. What about shoes and shoe polish? I hope you understand. Printer and ink. So these are generally consumed in combination. Hence, these are called as complementary goods. All of you are okay? All of you okay with the concept of substitute and complementary goods? Now let me ask you a very simple question. If the price of the printer goes up, can I say automatically how many printers are purchased in the market will go down? Yes or no? Please do let me know. If the price of printer goes up, how many printers are purchased, right? It will go down. And if number of printers purchased will go down, can I say demand for the ink will also go down. Yes or no? Does it make sense to you? Demand for the ink will also go down. Right? So I hope you understand. In case of substitutes, now I'll put it in a technical way now. Think of it. In case of substitutes, can I say price and demand will move in opposite directions? I'll repeat the statement. Look at the picture and do let me know. In case of substitutes, price and demand, that is price of one product, demand for its substitutes, will move in opposite direction. All of you are okay with this? Rather than saying opposite direction, can I say negatively related? Negatively related, inverse. Negative means inverse. If price of one product goes up, demand for its substitute, price of this goes up, demand also goes up. My mistake. Okay, positively related. None of you are correcting. All of you are saying yes. My mistake, right? So again, I'll write it so that it is clear to you. Price of tea goes up, demand for coffee will go up. At least now all of you okay? Price of tea goes up, demand for coffee will go up. That is, a price and a demand are positively related, will move in same direction. All of you are okay with this? I'm talking about substitute goods. Can I go to the complementary now? In case of substitute goods, price and demand for substitutes are positively related, will move in same direction. Right? What about complementary goods? Write it so that you understand it. Price of printer goes up. Okay, price of printer goes up. And as a result of this, demand for the printer will go down. It is natural. It is natural. If price of product goes up, demand should go down. Quantity of this product demanded should go down. And when the purchasing of printers will go down, automatically demand for ink will go down. So in case of complementary goods, can I say these are negatively related or inversely related? These are negatively related. That is, price and demand for complementary goods is inversely or negatively related, whereas in case of substitute goods, these are positively related. Can I go forward now? This is the concept of related goods. Can I go forward? Anybody has a problem regarding this? Can I go forward? Are Baba, please do let me know. Anybody has a problem? Okay, done. So let me go back to the idea of law of a demand. Let me go back to the idea of law of demand. So come back to this. Whenever there is whenever there is a buying behavior, whenever you want to purchase any product in the market, there are various factors that will influence the demand for a good, or quantity that is demanded will be influenced by these factors. One is price of the good, price of the related goods, right? Income of the consumer, and finally the taste and preference of the consumer. These are generally the factors that will influence what is the quantity demanded, what is demanded, what is the quantity demanded in the market. Now come to the law of demand. Come to the law of demand. What does law of demand state? The law of demand states that the price as well as quantity demanded are inversely related. I'll repeat the statement. The law of demand states that if all the other factors remain same, I repeat, if all the other factors, what do you mean by all the other factors? Your taste and preference doesn't change. The price of related goods doesn't change. Your income doesn't change. If all the other factors remain unchanged and price of the product changes, then the quantity demanded, how many units are demanded of the product, will move in opposite direction. This inverse relationship between price as well as a demand for the same product, I repeat, same product, it is called as a law of a demand. Everybody is okay with this? Everybody is okay with this, right? For example, right, where is the bottle? See, right, this is a bottle. Price of this bottle goes up, how many units of the bottle are demanded in the market will go down. And opposite, if the price of the bottle goes down, how many units of the bottle are demanded in the market will go up. Some of you are saying it is very confusing. What is confusing in this? What is confusing? Please do let me know. If price of the product goes down, how many units of this product are demanded will go up. If price will go up, how many units are demanded will go down. Opposite direction. Exactly opposite direction. That is law of demand. And I'll tell you, some of you are saying, sir, in that case, right, is it connected to, right, let's say the complementary goods? In case of complementary goods, my dear, you people are getting confused. You're not listening. That's the reason you're getting confused. In case of complementary goods, please understand the comparison was between printer and ink. I hope you understand. It was a comparison between printer and ink. These are set of goods. But here, when I'm explaining to you law of demand, I'm not taking complementary. I'm taking simply one good. That's it. I'm taking simply one good. Price of this good goes up. How many units are demanded will go down. Price of this good goes down. How many units of this good are demanded will go up. That is basically law of demand. Can we go forward now? Can we go forward? Now, before I go forward, is it applicable in all the instances? Is it applicable in case of all the goods? No, there are exceptions. There are exceptions. We'll discuss that. Don't worry. There are certain exceptions, right? There are exceptions to the law of demand also. There are exceptions to law of supply also. We'll discuss that separately. Have patience. Now, why does it happen? Why does it generally happen? Reasons are very simple. One is called as income effect. Why does it happen? One is called as income effect. What do you mean by income effect? Imagine, I'll take a very simple example here. Imagine your income is 100. Okay, imagine your income is 100. Right now, a product is available in the market. The price of the product, mind you, is, let's say, 12 rupee 50 paisa. Price of the product rather than 12 rupee 50 paisa. Many of you will find calculations difficult. Let's say price of the product is 20 rupees. Can I simply say at 20 rupees, you'll be able to purchase 5 units of the product? Yes or no? Simple CSAT calculation. You'll be able to purchase 5 units of the product. If the price of the product goes up to 25, at 25, now you'll be able to purchase only 4 units of the product. So when the price goes up, can I say quantity that is demanded is going down? Right? The price of the product goes up, the quantity demanded is going down. And if you read it vice versa, if the price of the product goes down, then the quantity demanded will increase, which is nothing but, again, same relation. Price and demand are inversely related. Price and demand are inversely related. Please remember that. Right? That is basically income effect. Income effect means your income may not change. I hope you understand. Your income is not changing here. But because the price of the product is changing, it feels that with the same amount of income, now you'll be able to purchase more goods. That is called as income effect. Is it okay? Can I go to the next one? What is income effect? At the same amount of income, now you will be able to purchase more or lesser quantity based on the price changes. That is income effect. Second one is substitution effect. Second one is called as substitution effect. Now, what is this idea of a substitution effect? Whenever the price of the product changes, let's say hypothetically, price of tea goes down. Price of tea goes down. Now, imagine earlier the price of tea was 10 rupees per cup and price of coffee was 10 rupees per cup. Now, if the price of tea will go down from 10 rupees to, let's say, 9 rupees, can I say it has become comparatively cheaper? Within substitute goods, it has become, that is the tea has become comparatively cheaper. Please look at the numbers, automatically you'll understand. And because this product has become comparatively cheaper, what will you do as a consumer? What do you generally do? Don't you think you will start consuming more and more of tea? People will shift from coffee to tea. So what is happening to the demand for tea here? Demand for tea is continuously increasing. That is substitution effect. That is a substitution effect. You will substitute one product with its cheaper substitute, which is right comparatively cheaper. You will substitute it. So argument is simple. Why does it happen in the market? Because of income effect, because of substitution effect. Any problem here? Can I go forward? What is income effect? I'll repeat it again. Income effect simply means when the price of the product changes, let's assume goes down. With the same amount of income, you'll be able to purchase more units. Is it okay? I'll repeat it. Your income is 100. Price of the product goes down from 25 to 20. From 25 rupees, it will go down to 20 rupees, which means at the same amount of income, now you will be able to purchase more because the price has gone down. That is income effect. Okay, which means your purchasing power, right? Your income, real income tends to increase like this. It feels like you're earning more income. You're not earning more income, but because of higher purchasing power, you will feel like that. Okay, right? So that is the reason why the law of demand, right, shows that price and demand are inversely related. Now, point number two, you will come across this graph. In case of law of demand, for most of the goods, we'll say the representation, the demand curve is a downward sloping line. The demand curve is a downward sloping line. That is, if you look at the line, you'll understand it. Let's say hypothetically, this is one price and this is the quantity demanded. This is another price and this is quantity demanded. Now, please tell me, does it make sense to you? Does this make sense to you? That is, if price is 25 and 20, quantity demanded is right 4 and 5. Whatever we have discussed so far, does it make sense by looking at the graphical representation of it? That is, at 25 rupees, the quantity demanded is 4. At 20 rupees, the quantity demanded is 5 units. Right? Based on the points itself. In fact, how do we draw the curve is similar to this. That is, we know that. I'll tell you how the graph is drawn. Have a look at this. I know that at 20 rupees, quantity demanded is 5. At 25, quantity demanded is 4. Now, how do I do it? How do I draw the line? Very simple. At 25, right, 4 units. Let's assume this is 4, this is 25. At 20 rupees, right, the quantity demanded will be, let's say, 5. This is 5. So can I connect both of these dots and I'll get a line like this. This is called as a demand curve. Is it okay? This is referred to as a demand curve. Can I go forward now? This is referred to as a demand curve. And please remember this. This represents demand. The whole line represents demand. And if you take this point, this represents quantity demanded. Everybody is okay with this? The whole line, I'm trying to make it very simple here. The whole curve represents a demand. But if you take this point, what does this point represent? This point represents that if the price of the product is 20, then the quantity demanded will be 5 units. That is this point. One point will represent the quantity demanded, whereas the whole line will represent the demand. Can we go forward? These are technical terms. Generally UPSC doesn't focus on it, but suddenly if they ask you, don't get confused. They'll say quantity demanded means what? Quantity demanded means at one price, how many units are demanded? right? Demand means what? At different prices, how many units are demanded? That is, at 20 rupees, 5 units are demanded. At 25 rupees, 4 units are demanded. This is a demand. But 20 rupees, 5 units, this is quantity demanded. Okay, done? Right, so that is basically the concept of law of demand. Anybody has a problem with what I've discussed so far, please do let me know. Anybody has a problem with what I've discussed so far, please do let me know. Is it demanded or purchased? It is demanded. It is demanded at different prices. How much is demanded? That is considered. In case of petrol and diesel in complementary goods, which demand should be going down? If car prices will go up, let's start. If prices of cars will go up, right, what do you think will happen to demand for cars? Very simple. What will happen to demand for cars? Demand for cars will go down. And if the demand for the cars will go down, automatically, don't you think the consumption of petrol, the demand for the petrol will go down? That is how complementary goods are considered. Shouldn't the price be on x-axis? No, right? Some of you I know from economics background, right? Again, I'll tell you the technical aspect of this. There is a concept of dependent variable and independent variable. Statistics. There is this idea of a dependent variable as well as an independent variable. Now, please tell me, based on this only, based on this idea only, please tell me, what do you think is a dependent variable? Is a price a dependent variable or a demand a dependent variable? Please think logically. Again, you don't need to be an expert in this. You need to think logically. Which is independent, which is a dependent? If you have listened to the lecture very carefully, can I say price will change and as a result of this, quantity demanded will change? Correct? Very simple idea. I said price will change as a result of this, quantity demanded will change, which means, can I say, price is an independent variable and demand is a dependent variable. All of you are able to understand this? Price is changing first, and as a result of this, a demand will change, right? Which means price is independent, demand is dependent. Generally in statistics, you'll be taught like this. You'll be taught like this. That is, independent variable should be plotted along x-axis and dependent variable should be plotted along y-axis. That is how it is taught in statistics. But in case of law of demand, law of supply, etc., historically, we have kept on plotting an independent variable along y-axis and a dependent variable along the x-axis. Historically, we have done it. And that is the reason even today we use the same thing. Done? Okay. Right. So can the curve be always like this, or is it always straight? Not necessarily. The curve can be like this also. I'll draw it in a different way or in a different slide. The curve can be straight line like this, but it can also be drawn in a curvature like this. A curve can also be drawn like this. So do not assume it is always a straight. It can be a curved representation also. Done? Okay, so this is basically the idea of a law of demand. Anybody has a problem? Otherwise, I'll go to the next one. Anybody has a problem? Are there any exceptions? I've told you there are exceptions. I'll come to that. Please don't worry. If prices increase, then the demand will decrease. Then why suppliers will increase? Arey Baba, have some patience. That's the reason I started with the, what was the first point? What was the first point? I said law of demand discusses only the consumer viewpoint. You're trying to bring in suppliers. Suppliers I'll bring in. Have patience. Right? The law of a demand always talks from the angle of a consumer. Stick to that. I'll tell you what will happen in the market in some time. Have patience. Now, let me talk about law of supply. Let me talk about law of supply. Graph is confusing. Arey Baba, what is the confusion in a graph? What is the confusion in the graph? If you say graph is confusing, then you do not understand how to draw the graph also. At 25 rupees, you will demand 4 units. Does this point not represent 4? At 20 rupees, you will demand, right, 5 units. Plot 4, plot 5. Coordinates, do you remember coordinate geometry or not? Do you remember coordinate geometry? How do you draw a graph? Right, this will be 4 comma 25. This will be 5 comma 20. I'm going to high school now. I'm going to high school. This will be 4 comma 25 and this is 5 comma 20. How do you draw a curve? How do you draw a graph in your high school? Connect both of these dots, correct? Is it not? You took a scale, right? You ensured that both of the dots are connecting and you drew a straight line like this. That is basically a demand curve. That is basically a demand curve. That is how I've drawn the demand curve. In fact, in UPSC GS paper, they will not ask you to draw a demand curve. They'll not ask you to draw a demand curve. Please do not worry. But just to make it very clear, because suddenly in the prelims, they might ask you a question related to this. Just to make it very clear, I'm explaining all of it. Okay. Now, let me go to the next one. Law of supply. Right? Let me go to the law of supply. What does law of supply state? Again, as usual, how much supply a seller will do in the market. The supply will be dependent on multiple factors. For example, you will ask me, sir, how is it dependent? Please tell me, you are selling this bottle. You are selling this bottle. Will the price of the bottle determine how many units you will sell in the market or not? Very simple question, by the way. Right? Will the price of the bottle, will it determine how many units of this bottle you will sell? Of course, yes. What about cost of raw material on the bottle? What about cost of raw material? Cost of inputs? Will they not influence how many units I'll sell in the market? Of course, yes. What about taxes and subsidies? I'll come to this. What about taxes and subsidies? Now, what do you mean by taxes and subsidies here? Listen to me very carefully now. Do not complicate it. Keep it simple. I know some of you are from economics background. You will try to complicate taxes into that, into this, etc. Do not worry about it today. Whenever we sell a product in the market, whenever we sell a product in the market, government imposes a tax. It is called as indirect tax. Right? Again, don't worry about definition, types, etc. I'll give you the best example. GST. All of you heard of GST? Let me know. All of you heard of GST? You may not know what is GST, but I'm pretty sure you have heard and you have paid GST. Whether you like it or don't like it, you have paid GST. For example, you might have purchased a biscuit packet, right? Good Day biscuit or Nutri Choice biscuit, which is sitting right in front of you right now. Right? You have paid GST on it. Congratulations. You have purchased a mobile phone. You have paid GST. You purchased, let's say, cooking oil in the market. Congrats, you have paid GST. You went to a restaurant and had something in the restaurant. Congrats, you have paid GST. So I'm pretty sure all of you in one or the other way would have paid a GST, and GST is an example of indirect tax. Now, please tell me, if government will increase the indirect taxes, will that not automatically mean market price of the product will go up? Will this not affect your supply? Think logically, by the way. If you are a supplier, if the government will increase indirect taxes, right, which means market prices will increase, will it not affect your supply? Of course, yes. Right? So taxes will have an impact. What about subsidies? Now you'll ask me, what do you mean by subsidies, sir? We'll discuss separately in a chapter, but right now, subsidy simply means assistance given by the government. Subsidy simply means assistance given by government. Now, how it will have an impact, let me explain. Imagine You will use the raw materials. You will set up a manufacturing facility in India. You will procure raw materials. You will manufacture the bottle. Actual cost of the bottle is 100. Actual cost of the bottle is 100. If government will give you an assistance of 10 rupee, that is because you are manufacturing the bottle, government will give you 10 rupee. Can I say cost of the bottle will come down to 90 rupees because of it? Let me know. All of you okay with this? Anybody has a problem? I'll repeat it again. Imagine you're manufacturing this bottle here, and the government, because you're manufacturing, government will give you assistance of 10 rupee. If government had not given any assistance, the cost would have been 100. But because government is giving 10 rupees, because of this, can I say price of the bottle will come down to 90 rupees. I'll give you current affairs example. All of you have heard of electric vehicles? Yes or no? Anybody in the classroom who says, sir, what is this electric vehicle? I've never heard of it, right? Something new you are telling me, etc. How many of you know that government of India provides subsidies on electric vehicles? Reason is very simple. Some of you are asking, why will the government provide subsidies? Multiple reasons are there. I'll stick to electric vehicles here. Whenever government, right, will provide subsidies on electric vehicles, apply the logic and tell me, will this reduce the market price of the electric vehicle or not? Very simple idea, by the way. Okay. In this example, the government will provide subsidies on the electric vehicle. Will this not reduce the market price? Of course, yes, it will reduce the market price. And don't you think government wants more and more people to purchase electric vehicles rather than purchasing petrol bike? Correct? Does it make sense to you? And if you ask me, sir, why do they want me to purchase electric vehicle? By purchasing a bike run by fuel, you are polluting. Of course, you are contributing to the pollution. And second, we import a lot of petrol, crude oil. No, we do not import directly petrol, we import crude oil. 80 to 85% of the crude oil requirements in India, we import it. So rather than increasing the dependency on fossil fuels, government wants to reduce the dependency on fossil fuels. So I hope you understand subsidies provided by the government will have an influence over the price, and that will automatically have an impact on the supply of the goods. So all of you okay with the factors which will influence the supply in the market? Now come to law of supply. Come to law of supply. What is this idea of a law of supply? Again, please think from the seller's angle. Sellers, not buyers, sellers. Law of supply simply states that if all the other factors remain unchanged, there is a Latin term for this, ceteris paribus. Right? A ceteris paribus simply means all the other factors remain unchanged. If all the other factors remain unchanged and the price of the product changes, then the supply will also change in the same direction. I'll repeat the statement. Right? I'll repeat the statement. What does law of supply state? Law of supply states that if all the other factors remain same, what do you mean by all the other factors? Right? Subsidies don't change. Taxes don't change. Right? Raw material cost doesn't change. Nothing will change. Everything will remain same. But the price of the product changes. Let's say price of the product goes up. Then supply, right? Quantity supplied will also go up. Move in the same direction, which means price and supply are positively related. Price and supply are positively related. All of you are okay with this? And does it make sense or not? So how does it, right, make sense to me? If price goes up, rather than selling this bottle at 100 rupee in the market, let's take an example. Rather than selling the bottle at 100 rupee, now the price in the market is 110. Don't you think if everything remains the same, your profits have increased because of this? Think logically. Think logically. If everything remains the same, price of the bottle goes up from 100 rupees to 110, does it not mean your profit motive has increased? How much profit you can earn has increased. And if your profits are increasing, will you supply more or supply lesser? Let me know. What will you do? Will you supply more or supply lesser? You will have to supply more. You will have to supply more. That makes perfect logical sense as such. Okay. So the positive relationship exists between price and supply, that is called as law of supply. Okay. Now, can I draw the supply curve? Using this concept, can I draw the supply curve? It makes perfect sense. For example, let's say at 10 rupees, I was supplying 120 units. At 12 rupees, it will increase the supply to, let's say, 140 units, so on and so forth. Can you use the same concept of finding coordinates and connecting the coordinates, that is the dots? You will get, right, the law of supply, that is the supply curve. Supply curve is upward sloping. Supply curve is upward sloping. Demand curve is downward sloping. Now, many of you are continuously asking, but sir, if the price increases, this will happen, that will happen. My dear, until now, listen to me carefully. Until now, we have discussed law of demand separately, law of supply separately. All of you will agree with me? Until now, we had made a distinction between law of demand, law of supply. We discussed the law of supply separately, law of demand separately. But in the market, now tell me, market, don't you think, I'll come back to this, don't worry, don't you think the supply and demand forces are simultaneously operating? Please let me know. Participate, by the way. 9 o'clock, I know half an hour is left out. Don't worry. Participate. Until now, we have discussed law of demand separately, law of supply separately. But do you think in the market, both of them acting simultaneously or separately? In the market, they are acting simultaneously. That is, if there is a demand, there is a supply. If there is a buyer, there is a seller in the market. So simultaneously the forces are acting in the market. Now what it will lead to? What happens in the reality? Let's try and understand. So this curve represents demand. This curve represents demand. And this curve represents a supply. Now let's start. If, let me take you back to your high school. If there are two lines, let me know. If there are two lines which are moving in different directions, not parallel, non-parallel. If there are two lines which are moving in different directions, can I say they will intersect at one point? Think, please think. Right? I'm asking you to go back to your high school. I know that. Your faculty should have shown you that. If there are two lines which are not running parallel to each other, then no doubt they will cut, they will intersect at one point. Apply the same logic. So you know that demand curve is moving downwards, it is sloping downwards, and supply curve is moving upwards. So don't you think they will cut each other, intersect each other at one point? This point of intersection is called as market equilibrium. This point of intersection is referred to as market equilibrium. And what is the meaning of the market equilibrium? What does it actually represent? Market equilibrium represents a situation in the market where the quantity supplied is equal to quantity demanded. Very simple logic. What does the market equilibrium represent? How many units of quantity are being supplied? How many units are being supplied is equal to how many units are being demanded in the market. That situation in the market is called as market equilibrium. In a sense, if 100 units are being supplied, then the demand is also for 100 units. That is called as market equilibrium point. Now, this particular pricing, this is a quantity demanded This is the price. Whatever be the price, that is at market equilibrium, whatever is the price, this price is called as clearing price. Remember this. This price is called as a clearing price. Clearing price means what? It is a price at which whatever we are supplying, all of that will be purchased in the market. All of that will be demanded and bought in the market. Hence, this price at equilibrium is referred to as a clearing price. But please go to the next point now. Please think of it. Whenever we spoke about law of demand and law of supply, we assumed that all the other factors will remain same. But don't you think the market is very dynamic in nature? Yes or no? The market is very dynamic in nature. The factors that we have assumed are constant may not remain constant, may not remain same. The taste and preference might change. The cost of raw materials might change. The market is very dynamic. And that is the precise reason why there are two situations. Rather than remaining at equilibrium, you'll experience two other situations in the market. One is called as a surplus supply. One is called as a surplus, and the second one is called as a shortage or deficit. One is a surplus, second one is a shortage. Now, what is a surplus and a shortage? Let me explain it to you. Imagine the price of the product goes up. Price of the product goes up. And some of you will ask me, sir, why does the price of the product goes up? Let's say hypothetically, suddenly all of us will become vegetarians. Hypothetically, by the way, again, don't make it political, stick to economics. Suddenly all of us become vegetarians. Now, please tell me, as a result of that, today in the market, the price of the vegetables, will it go up or not? Think logically, by the way. If all of us become vegetarians, it means all of us will shift to consumption of vegetables. And today in the market, whatever could have been the demand, suddenly the demand will increase. And when the demand will go up, in that short time period, so quickly, we cannot meet the demand. So automatically what will happen? Prices of the commodities will go up. Does it make sense to you? Prices will go up. Now please tell me, if the prices will go up, what does the law of demand state? The law of demand states that the quantity that you demand should go down. Correct? The quantity that you demand should go down. Right? Imagine you are at price P. Now the prices will jump to P1. From P, it will jump to P1, or else I'll take this as P1, I will take this as P2. So prices will go up from P1 to P2. And when this will happen, on one side, law of supply states supply should increase, and on the other side, law of demand states quantity demanded should go down, which means until now it was 100 is equal to 100. Now the quantity demanded will go down, right? Let's say to 80, and the supply will go up to 120. Now you tell me, can I call this as a surplus situation? Yes or no? Can I call this as a surplus situation, assuming this is a quantity demanded and quantity being supplied? Can I call this surplus situation, where the demand is only 80 units, but the supply is 120 units? Now, as a result of this, can I say prices will start coming down in the market? All of you okay with this? As a result of this, because we have reached a situation where we have reached a surplus situation, supply is very high, demand is very less, quantity demanded is very less. So because supply is very high, right, the prices will start coming down. We will start moving towards equilibrium. We'll start moving towards equilibrium. And same thing can also happen opposite, right? What will happen in certain situations? Right, what will happen is there is a shortage. Shortage means what? The supply is limited. Supply is very less, but the demand is very, very high. the demand will be very, very high. For example, right, take examples of various agriculture commodities. At various points of time, supply will be lesser, right? Because the price have fallen down, farmers may think, okay, there is no point in producing it. Producers might simply think there is no point producing so huge quantity, let me reduce the supply. So supply might have fallen down to, let's say, 70 units. Supply might have fallen down to 70 units, but the demand will go up, let's say, to 120 units, 140 units, 150 units. So now can I simply say there's a situation where there's a scarcity, there is a shortage, there is a deficit. And when there is a scarcity or deficit in the market or shortage in the market, right, automatically, don't you think the prices will start increasing? The prices will start increasing, going up again. So all of you okay with this? All of you okay to understand what happens in reality? Right? Because law of demand simply says a quantity demanded will go up or go down whenever there is a variation in the price. And in case of supply, it says, right, price goes up, supply goes up. But in reality, both of these forces are acting simultaneously in the market. As a result of which, right, prices might go up, supply will increase, demand will go down. And as a result of this, prices will start falling down. And on the other side, the prices might fall down, supply will decrease, but the demand will start increasing, because that is what law of demand states. And that will lead to shortage, deficit in the market, prices will start increasing. This is, right, basically the concept of market equilibrium. Now, some of you are saying it is very difficult to understand, very confusing. My dear, what is confusing here? I don't understand. Let me write it. Please tell me, if price of the product goes up, what do you think will happen to demand? Very simple. Quantity demanded, what do you think will happen? The quantity demanded should go down. Until now, it was at equilibrium. Until now, it was equilibrium. 100 units supplied, 100 units demanded. Quantity demanded will go down, let's say, to 80 units. Whereas the supply, because the prices have gone up, supply should increase. From 100, you will increase this to, let's say, 130. Now, please tell me, if you want to purchase only 80, demand is for only 80 units, supply is 130 units, should the prices further go up or start falling down? What does it make sense to you? Prices now should start falling down. Makes perfect sense. Now, when the prices are falling down, and if you're reading newspapers, you will know in certain months prices will go up, in certain months prices will fall down. Fluctuation is there in the market. When the prices will fall down, what do you think will happen to quantity demanded for the product? Quantity demanded will go up. Correct? It will go up. Income effect, substitution effect, etc. But on the other side, what will happen to supply? If you're a supplier, prices for your products are going down, will you increase the supply? No, you will reduce the supply. So rather than 100 is equal to 100, now it can become 140 and let's say 80. So is there a shortage in the market? Demand is 140, supply is only for 80. So there is a huge demand, supply is limited. What will happen to prices because of this? Prices will start increasing. A basic application of what we have discussed so far. Okay, right? This is the concept of market equilibrium. Now, I told you in the context of the supply curve as well as the demand, that is law of demand and law of supply, there are exceptions. You cannot apply it universally. There are certain exceptions. What are the exceptions? Let's try and understand what are the exceptions. Let's say price of tea goes up. Let's say price of tea goes up. Now, please tell me, if there is no substitute for tea, please participate. Price of tea goes up. If there is no substitute for tea, will it affect demand in the market? I'll give you a current affairs example so that you understand. Right? Let's say petrol. Fuels, by the way. Petrol. If the price of the petrol goes up, please tell me, will the overall demand, I'm talking about overall demand, don't talk only about yourself. If the price of petrol goes up, do you think overall demand for petrol in India will change? No, it doesn't change. I'll tell you why. It doesn't change. Why? Petrol is required. Petrol is a need for running vehicles, for transportation, for various industries, because there is no alternative. Instead of petrol, you cannot start filling with water in your tank. You cannot simply say pump is there. Instead of petrol, I'll pump water into my vehicle, two-wheeler. You can't do that. Substitute is not available for petrol, for your petrol vehicle. There is no substitute. So tell me, is it availability of substitute? Will it not influence, the change in the demand? If there is no substitute available, even the prices might keep on changing because it is a necessity. It is a necessary good for me. The demand will keep on, having the same level of quantity in the market. Yes or no? Let me know, right? Please do let me know. Some of you will try to make certain exceptions. No, it will not change, my dear. Some of you will simply say, sir, I will shift to electric vehicles. My dear, check the prices of electric vehicles in the market. And some of you will simply say, sir, I'll shift to electric vehicle. Check the prices of electric vehicles. The issue related to electric vehicles is their pricing only. Issue related to electric vehicles is their pricing only. Despite government providing subsidy, electric vehicles price are very high. That is first problem. Second problem is charging infrastructure. Charging infrastructure. Do you think we have sufficient charging infrastructure throughout India so that the demand for electric vehicle will be present throughout India? Absolutely no. If you're reading newspapers, you'll know all of it. Right? So whether the substitutes are available very easily, whether they are available or not, that will determine. Second, whether the good is essential or non-essential. Let me give you one more example. Automatically, you'll only agree with me. Please tell me, the price of the salt goes down. Do you think when you're cooking or when your mother is cooking, when your spouse is cooking or your father is cooking, they will put more salt because the price of salt has gone down? Let me know. Right? So can I simply say, right, demand for these kind of goods doesn't change? All of you agree? Demand for these kind of goods doesn't change. Why? Right? These are consumed in continuity in the same quantities. That's the reason demand doesn't change whether the price goes up or goes down. Right? What is the impact on the budget? Impact on the budget means what is the impact of this change in the price on the overall expenditure? Budget means overall expenditure of a household. For example, please observe your household. Please observe your household, you will understand it. If the price of the onion increases today itself will not reduce the demand for onion. Let me know. If the price of the onion changes today itself will not change the demand for the onion. Why? I'll tell you. First, you will absorb the information. That is, if the price of the onion changes from 20 rupees per kg to 22 rupees per kg, don't you think most of us, not all of us, most of us will simply say, doesn't matter, it will not have a big impact on my overall expenditure. Correct? All of you will agree with me? Right? If it increases by 50 paisa, 1 rupee, 2 rupee, again, I'm not saying all of us. There are also certain households where even 1 rupee hike is a huge burden for them. But at least will you agree, for most of us, 1 rupee increase, half a rupee increase, we will scold, we will blame everybody else. But we will simply say it's manageable. It's manageable, not a big issue as of now. But suddenly it will increase from 20 rupees to 120 rupees. Will you be able to manage within the same amount of expenditure? You will not be able to manage. Then you will change the demand. Then you will automatically change the demand. Okay. Next, goods which have a shorter shelf life. Goods which have shorter shelf life. Let's say I'm a farmer. Okay, let's say I'm a farmer. I've cultivated vegetables. I've cultivated vegetables. And the price of vegetables has gone down. Price of the vegetables has gone down. Please tell me, can I reduce my supply? Can I keep some of the vegetables with me to supply after 1 month? It's not possible. Why? These are perishable. Right? Shelf life means expiry date. Shelf life is nothing but expiry date. I cannot keep them. Why? I cannot store them. These will perish. These will be destroyed within couple of days. Right? So goods which are perishable in nature, which have a very, very short shelf life, the law of supply does not have an impact on it. I cannot move according to the law of supply. In that case, I will incur losses. Next one, very, very rare articles. Very, very rare articles. Right? So I hope you understand, very, very rare articles. The prices are very, very high. Prices are very, very high. As a supplier, right, I will not produce more. I'll not supply more because the price has increased. For example, right, let's say Mona Lisa painting, right, or very, very rare coins of Vijayanagara dynasty, or let's say Mughal dynasty, etc. Because these have certain importance, historical importance, their supply, we cannot change it. I hope you understand. Right? Imagine if let's say a very, very precious coin, right, medieval age coin is available, because it is historically important, price of this will be very high. Just because the price is increased, can I increase the supply? Let me know. Can I increase the supply? Where do I have these coins? I don't have these coins. These are available in limited quantity. I cannot print them. I cannot, right, let's say, mint them today and say, this is a coin which was minted during Vijayanagara dynasty. Purchase it. No, I cannot change the supply. Price could be very high, but I cannot change the supply. Okay. Future expectations. Future expectations. Now, please tell me, today you read in the newspaper, because of rainfall, etc., etc., cultivation of rice has been affected. Rice cultivation after 3 months, right, after 3 months the rice supply in the market will come down. Don't you think because of this you will purchase more rice at a lower price today rather than purchasing rice at a higher price after 3 months? Does it make sense to you or not? I'll repeat it again. Today you will read in the newspaper, cultivation of rice. How much land is there under cultivation has gone down because of lower rainfall, excess rainfall, etc., etc. Which means after 3 to 4 months, don't you think supply of rice will come down, market price will increase? Right? Which also indicates something to you. That is, if you wait for 3 months, price of rice will be higher compared to what it is today. So will you not start purchasing more rice, stocking more rice today itself at lower price rather than purchasing at a higher price? So future expectations based on certain parameters, you will make certain conclusion, and based on that, rather than purchasing in the future, you will purchase it today. Right? So which simply means, right, prices are not changing, but because of future expectations, you are purchasing the product today itself. Demand is changing based on future expectations. Right? In fact, many of the experts say this future expectation is a false exception. It is not a pure exception. It is a false exception. Why it is called as a false exception? It is happening because of change in certain external parameter. Correct? Right? It is happening because of certain external parameter. Price is not changing today. Right? The price is not changing, but because of your assumption as to what will happen in the future, you will purchase it today at this price. Right? So these are certain exceptions. These are certain exceptions to law of demand as well as law of supply. There are two more exceptions. Right? One is the concept of given goods. One is the idea of a given good, and the other one is the idea of a Veblen good. These are also considered to be exceptions. One is a concept of a given good and the other one is the idea of a Veblen good. In both of these cases, that is given good as well as a Veblen good, price and demand move in same direction. I'll repeat the statement here. In case of given good as well as Veblen good, price and demand move in the same direction. Is it not an exception to the law of demand? Because a law of demand states price and demand should move inversely, opposite direction. But tomorrow we'll discuss this. In case of given as well as Veblen good, price and demand will move in same direction, not in opposite, same. Price goes up, demand also goes up, right? Now, why it will happen? What is the importance of all of this? We'll understand that tomorrow. Please do not panic. Please do not panic. Okay, because many of you are asking, let me take it up. Right, last concept. Today we'll discuss the last concept, the given good as well as Veblen good. Now, please understand, Veblen goods, right, are high-end luxury products. Veblen goods are high-end luxury products. Do you understand high-end luxury products? Sir, any example of high-end luxury products? Gold. I'm sorry, diamonds. Very high quality diamonds, not the normal ones. Very high quality, high carat diamonds. High-end real estate, sports cars, sports bikes, which are very, very costly. High-end luxury products. These are called as Veblen goods. Now, why is that? I say price and demand for these goods will move in same direction. That is, if the price goes up, demand also goes up. Why? Why is it so? Reason is that these kind of Veblen goods, that is, these kind of products are purchased by very, very rich people. Very, very rich people. They don't have any shortage of money. They have huge amount of money. Right? If I were to give you one example, don't write it. But can I say Mr. Mukesh Ambani and family? Correct? Mr. Mukesh Ambani and family. Very, very rich people. Right? They have so much amount of money. And because they have got so much amount of money, they will end up purchasing these Veblen goods because these are status symbols. These are status symbols. These products represent a status of a person. That's the reason, even though the prices will start increasing, though the price is very, very high, the people who do not worry about the money, who have a huge amount of money with them, they will purchase more and more of these products. Right? These are in fact referred to as snobs. These kind of people are referred to as snobs. Why? They are more worried about luxury aspect of the product. Is it okay? I'll repeat the statement. These are more worried about, are more focused on the luxury aspect of the product. They are not worried about mileage of the car. For a common man such as me, such as you, when you go to purchase a car, when you go to purchase a vehicle, when you go to purchase an electric vehicle, don't you think one of the very important factors that we will focus on is the mileage of the product? Right? How much is the mileage of the car? Kitna deti hai? Right? For example, in many of the ads you must have seen. But people who will purchase, let's say, Rolls Royce, people who will purchase Lamborghini cars, do you think for them mileage is important? Please let me know. Do you think mileage is a concern for them? Absolutely no. Their focus is on the luxury aspect of the product, not the utility, not the benefit of the product. Right? So these kind of products are called as Veblen goods. All of you okay? So price and demand are moving in same direction. And finally, given goods. Let me complete this. After this, we'll stop. Given goods are consumed by very, very poor people. Please understand, many of you will ask me, sir, what is the difference between given and Veblen? Do you think a given good can also be a Veblen good? Today, let's say a Rolls Royce car. Do you think a Rolls Royce car is consumed by rich people as well as poor people? Absolutely no. Very, very poor people, very, very poor people consume giffen goods. Very, very rich people consume Veblen goods. There is a term called as right inferior good. We'll discuss this tomorrow. Don't worry. Tomorrow we will discuss. There's a concept called as an inferior good. Giffen goods, right, are inferior goods. Right? What is that? You'll understand that tomorrow. Don't worry. Now, in case of giffen goods, price and demand again will move in same direction. Price and demand again will move in same direction. How come? What is the situation? How does it happen? Now, let's imagine there is one family, very poor family, very, very poor family, which consumes bread and meat. In fact, the concept of giffen arrived in England because their consumption is basically bread and meat. Now, please tell me, by virtue of being a very, very poor family, if they are consuming bread, can I simply say there is no close substitute available for the bread? Let me know. It's simple to understand. Just follow the discussion here. I'll repeat it. Because it is a very, very poor family, because they're consuming bread, can I say there is not a very close substitute available for the bread? Now let's say price of the bread increases. Let's say the price of the bread increases. Now please tell me, if the price of the bread increases, can they substitute bread with any other product? Think of it. Can they substitute bread with any other product? Not possible, because the fact is there is no close substitute available. Second, by the virtue of this being very, very poor family, can they consume more of meat now? Can they consume more of meat? No, that is also not possible. So now can I simply say they cannot consume more of meat, but they need a certain amount of food to eat. They need to sustain, they need to remain alive. So what they will do? They will control the consumption of the meat, whereas on the other side, despite the prices of bread increasing, they'll consume more of bread. Does it make sense to you? Is it okay or not okay? Right, sir, why are you giving meat example? Can we take a substitute for this? In the Indian context, again, it was given in the context of Britain. In the Indian context, can I simply say, right, rice and dal? Rice and dal. Right, so in case of rice, it's a very poor family, very, very poor family, which means they are purchasing lowest quality rice. Lowest quality rice. Dal is very costly. As such, dal is very costly. Now, if the price of this rice increases, they cannot substitute, because no close substitute is available. And even if they substitute, the other product is much more costlier, which means they cannot consume more of dal. They will control the consumption of dal, but on the other side, they will start consuming more and more of rice. Does it make sense to you? In fact, last point. In fact, if you have seen old movies, very, very old movies, have you not seen the same thing being done by mother to their children? Let me know. Last question for you people today. Have you not seen this situation, right, being showcased in the movies where mother will put the, right, will open all the boxes, dal is not there, mother will cook more of rice, purchase more of rice, simply serve only rice. Right, so I hope you understand. This is basically a giffen good. Price is increasing, the demand is also increasing. Move in same direction. That's more important. Move in same direction. Right, so giffen good and Veblen good. Now please tell me, can I say both of them are exception to law of demand? Correct? Right, both of them are exceptions to law of demand. Okay, so that's it for today. Let me stop the discussion. If there are any questions, please do let me know. We'll address the question, then we'll wind up the discussion. Sir, in which class, these concepts are given, my dear? I'll show you again the same slide. I've given this particular picture in the PPT. Please download it. right? What chapters these concepts are discussed? I've mentioned it either in NCRT as well as in Tamil Nadu board. And just to make it easier for you, because many of the students will say, I did not find NCRT book online. I did not find Tamil Nadu board book online. I've given the link for both of these at the bottom of the slide. The link for both of these is available. Go to that link, right? These standard books are available free of a cost, absolutely free of a cost. You can download and read. Okay, now dual economy and mixed economy are same. Many of the experts use them interchangeably, but no, dual economy is different compared to mixed economy. In mixed economy, both government and private sector are present. In dual economy, generally means the developed industries are present along with the traditional industries. Developed industries are present along with traditional. For example, agriculture as well as right, let's say software companies. Okay. If I open a company at any point of a moment, government can acquire it. Yes. If government of India wants to do it, they can do it. That is the process called as nationalization. Government has the control over the economy. They will introduce a bill in the parliament, get it passed, and they will simply acquire it from you. Okay, they'll acquire it from you. That can be done. That's the power of the government. Okay. If my basics are clear, can I skip NCRT book? Again, if your basics, fundamentals are very clear, even if you skip NCRT book, nothing wrong with that. Assuming, underline the statement, your fundamentals are very clear. What is the prelims test series time? 9:30. It will go live 9:30, 24th. How do we access many newspapers? Again, if you are concerned about the financial aspect of it, Financial Express is available free of a cost. Financial Express. It is available free of a cost. Register through your email ID, go to their website. It is available free of cost. And just to make it much more easier for you, I said at the end of the week, I'll give you certain articles for you to read from different newspapers. Why would they consume more bread just because price of the bread has increased? They would just reduce consumption of meat, right? My dear, imagine you're again, imagine I'm that person. I need 200 calories. I need to eat some food which is sufficient for me to get, let's say, 300 or 400 calories. Because the price of bread has increased, now the fact is I cannot consume more of meat because my income is limited. So what I'll do, I'll reduce the consumption of the meat. Now if I reduce the consumption of meat, I do not get sufficient food. Sufficient food is not there. So what I will do, rice, which is cheaper compared to meat, I'll consume more. That is how generally it happens in a household. When will the PTS start? Preliminary test series will start on the 24th of November. Right, 24th, I'm sorry, 24th of December. My mistake, 24th of December. My mistake, the last weekend of December. Okay. If the option 1 and option 2 profit is the same, then the OP is also zero. How it is a free good? My dear, it is not a free good. Free good simply means anything that is available in nature. That is important. You're not listening. It is available in nature. If the profit is same, then opportunity cost is zero. But again, please understand, generally that doesn't happen. In case of rare articles, supply cannot be there. Yes, that's what I was telling you. If price of the rare articles keep on increasing, I cannot increase the supply. That's what I'm telling you. Okay. Repeat substitute effect. Substitution effect simply means whenever price of one product, let's say, goes down, these products become comparatively cheaper. And because it becomes comparatively cheaper, the quantity demanded of this product will go up. That is substitution effect. Okay, so we'll stop the discussion today here. We'll continue the discussion tomorrow morning. I've given you certain assignment from Hindu newspaper. Please read this. Even if you don't understand, don't worry. Read it once. Maybe after we discuss inflation, you'll get more clarity. When we discuss, right, let's say the idea of the GDP, will get more clarity, etc. Don't worry. Just keep on reading every day. You will understand these topics in a much better way going forward. Okay. So that's it from my side. We will stop the discussion today. We will continue the discussion tomorrow sharp at 6 a.m. Take care. Have a great day.